Perfect. 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 What's up, everybody? Welcome on in. Good to see everybody. Happy Saturday. Lovely individuals in the chat. Um, First time chatter asks 8118. Am I ready to get pied? So I can explain. I definitely can explain. So there's some context behind that, but before we get into the pie situation, I want to thank everybody that's here. Johnny, what's going on? Power Pack, my man, welcome on in. Crafty Gemini, good to see you. Happy Saturday. Thanks everybody for being here. Welcome to Les Spirios, episode 17. This is the 17th episode of this podcast that I had no idea that I was ever going to produce. Much like everybody else, you just hit go live, you stream, and whatever happens just happened. But hey, we're doing podcasts now, and I think I actually get a lot more excitement out of doing this than actually playing video games. I don't know. I mean, this may be the beginning of something brand new for future streams. But anyway, I have a amazing guest today who took the time out of her day. She was actually live earlier. I was in her chat, mingling, talking to some people in her community, and some of her people have made it over here as well. I want to introduce Rockettuey. Welcome on in. How are you today?
Hello. Is it working? I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing phenomenal. I'm doing really, really good. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yucky has more meaning. Yo, you talking about Twitch? Twitch definitely has more meaning than just video games. And welcome on into the stream. Good to see you. Amo387, welcome on in. And it's Tui. Tui is here. Yes, she is. And we got Bearded Legend Gaming in the house. Welcome on in, brother. Good to see you. Got the family up in here. Look at this. Family. This is what I love about this community. Like, some of us have known each other for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, but here we are, still growing and still being strong. So, Rockettuey, how is your weekend treating you so far?
So far, so good. Yeah, weekends are usually for streaming and catching up on life stuff. So today, did a stream this morning and then did some reading and tried to relax, and now here. So it's going to be just a good stream, Twitch-filled weekend.
Nice, nice. So do you primarily stream on the weekends, or are you able to fit anything in through the week?
Yeah, right now it's Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It used to be Saturday through Tuesday, but the 4 nights with like full-time work was just a little bit too much. So now it's 2 weekends and a Monday night. Every once in a while, a Tuesday night.
Gotcha. If anybody understands, and we were just talking about this like right before we went live, it's me when it comes to fitting in streaming time and IRL stuff and work and family. I was talking to some good friends of mine. I've been talking to them about this all week, as far as like, man, I wish I could stream a little bit more often than I do, because you've been following me for a while, and there was a point in time I was able to stream at least about 3 days out of the week, but then work picked up, and that's very, very hard to turn down, by the way, of course. But when it comes to choosing between working and streaming, I'm always going to select working, but there may be some people out there who may feel different, as far as like, maybe I can just play hooky at work and then just boot up a stream, because
Yeah, no, we got bills to pay, family to take care of. For some people, they can rely on Twitch, which is great. But yeah, I get that. You gotta produce in some sort of way for yourself.
Right. There's some people that actually do pretty good on this platform.
Oh yeah, there's some people that unfathomable money on this platform.
Yes. So, talk to us about yourself a little bit. I've always wondered, like, where did you get the name? Like the streaming name there's always history there behind that.
Yeah.
So where did that come up from?
So, well, my name is Tuesday. And then, so I had a friend growing up, and her older brother would always, he called me like Tuesdaisy, Rocket Twos, stuff like that. And so it was just a nickname from probably middle school. And then I knew that I wanted my stream channel to be like space themed somehow. And
Hmm.
now these days, most people call me Tui. There's family still calls me Twos and stuff like that. But so I just changed it a little bit to be Rocket Tui, like Ratatouille. And that's just, yeah, it just came from an old nickname.
Nice, nice. So you said something that got my interest. You said you're into the space theme.
Yeah.
I love. We were just me and Crafty were just talking about this. Now I'm a nerd. I'm not gonna lie. I love sci-fi.
Yes. Yeah.
Sci-fi is my genre. She's like, I can't. I'm like, yes, you can. Just try it.
Man.
Yes, you can. Please, just try. Just give it a chance. We've been watching. What's the name of the show that came out in the '90s? Stargate SG-1. We've been watching that. It puts her to sleep, but I really like it.
Maybe I can
Stargate.
check that out.
Yeah, Stargate SG-1. Of course, there's Star Trek. That's a good one too. But I love sci-fi,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I can sit there on a Saturday and just watch nothing but sci-fi, and that's it. Just the whole being out in outer space and futuristic stuff. There was a show that was on. What was it? Was it Netflix? It was called Netflix, and the name of it was Dark Matter. Have you ever heard of it?
I don't think so.
That's a very good show. It got canceled. It was on Sci-Fi, but it got canceled.
All the good ones do
Yes.
get
Yeah.
canceled.
Yes.
Shoot.
Yeah.
I'll find a way to find it.
Check,
Dark
check,
Matter.
check Netflix. You may find it. You just might.
Okay.
You might find it. Shadow Savior name change. Oh, yep. Name change. We're no longer in the Shao D. Same guy, but different name. Beauty Kills. What's up? Welcome on in. Welcome. Yeah, Dark Matter. Write that down. You'll like it. I know
Yeah,
you will.
actually.
Yes.
Some sci-fi. Yeah, I'm always tell people I like sci-fi and fantasy, and they're always
Yeah.
I get that like, ugh. I'm like, you nerd. I'm like, no, come on, try it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Oh yeah.
Just take me away from reality.
Yeah, exactly. Make it super weird, super mess with your mind.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so what got you into streaming and what kept you pursuing it?
Yeah. My sister, actually, my younger sister she's partnered on Twitch, and she's been streaming for a couple of years.
All right. Nice.
And yeah. So I started finally when I moved away from home, I actually started spending more time in her stream and watching her. And so it was that combined with a move. I moved about 500 miles from where I was from and where I've been forever. 6 weeks before COVID hit. So I moved, and it was like I just graduated, and it was going to be all this potential, and then everything shut down, and I couldn't meet new people. I had no friends here. Yeah, I was very lonely, and I knew her community was very close, and just watching how they interacted over the last couple of years, I was like, oh man, that's what I need. Like it was just, yeah, so it was essentially started streaming during COVID,
Right.
but a
Right.
little bit different than maybe most COVID streamers because I was still working full time and I didn't lose my job or anything like that. It was just a lonely wanting community type thing. And I saw Twitch was really special with that aspect.
Nice. Now, that's not the only time I've heard that. I've heard several people say that they've turned to Twitch during the months of COVID. So did I. I came to
Yeah.
Twitch November of 2020, and that was like during the pandemic, like when everything was still shut down and uncertainty was setting in. I can't say I did it for the sake of building a community. I just did it because I was bored, had
Yeah.
nothing else to do. So I'm like, well, it seems like
Valid.
everybody's like live streaming now, so let me give it a shot. And here we are, almost darn near 2 years later. But one of my moderators here, Saki, she has a similar story. Excuse me. I recall her telling me one time that she was seeking to build a community because she was feeling a little alone, And that's a real thing, especially when everything is shut down. Isolation was really, really heavy during the months of COVID. And I'm a firm believer that nobody deserves to be by themselves.
Yeah. That was like the first time I'd experienced that feeling was moving because I was so busy in school before, had multiple jobs, and I went from just so crazy busy to just completely, yeah, the first time I guess that I was alone and lonely and missed being around my family and people that I know and who know me because I didn't know anybody here except for my partner. So
Right.
it it was humbling to experience that and also opened my eyes to how after a long amount of time that could just be devastating and that some people have a hard time finding people. So that's another cool thing about Twitch is really helps people have some sort of feeling of friendship and support.
Exactly. There's a streamer that I talk to at least once or twice a week, and I remember um, he was like, in the beginning, he didn't think that it was possible to make real friends on the internet, and he he admitted that he was wrong. He met several people that he talks to every day through Twitch and through Twitter. So I'm like, yeah, the if your intentions are pure and you definitely are seeking some sort of like relationship or connection, you absolutely can have a good real friendship through the internet. It's real. Like I've met up
Yeah.
with at least two streamers since I've been doing this, and there are several other streamers that I look forward to meeting too.
Yeah, no, definitely. A lot of people that I find stream were always like gamers as kids growing up, and that was a big passion for them. And I didn't really do that as a kid so much because of other hobbies and like obligations, but I've always had like internet friends. So even when I was a kid, it was like, oh, I've got like this internet friend, and it's hard to explain that to people that haven't. But I'm like, man, I have a friend in my community that I actually met on my yearbook, if you remember that website, like
Hmm.
15 years ago. And I've still never
Wow.
met him in person, but he started coming to Twitch and now he streams a little bit. And yeah, I've always found it easy to become friends with people online. And it's scary and it has its cons for sure. But yeah, I find it to be a really legitimate way to get close with people. Feels like your time together is more intentional a lot of the time.
Exactly. I can recall around 2006. I had a MySpace account. Like you remember MySpace, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh my, I used to love that
Yeah.
platform. You could customize it, you could listen to music. It was a good takeaway for somebody that was around my age. I was in my early 20s around that time, and there was a woman on there that I had met, and she and her husband had a daughter, and I think the daughter was like about maybe 6 months old around the time. And flash forward to 2022, we're still cool, but on Facebook, and now they have like three kids, and that little girl that was a baby is about to graduate high school.
Yeah, you become such a big part of their lives. It's
Right,
crazy. Or you get to see or be, witnessing a their whole life roll
right.
out. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so I definitely believe that the internet has the capability of bringing people together, and to me, it's convenient because let's even this right here, the podcast, Discord. We couldn't do this 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. This was impossible to even orchestrate something like this. But here we are today, um, utilizing this platform to get to know each other better because the whole name of the podcast is l'experience, which is French for the experience. This is an opportunity for not just my community and your community, but this is an opportunity for me to get to know somebody else, especially people that I've known you for quite some time. You've known me for quite some time, but this is literally the first interaction that we've ever had,
Yeah.
verbally and face to face. So, hey, this is amazing.
Yeah, it definitely broadens like the whole experience of the type of people. 15 years ago, we were across the country from each other. I never would have met you. I'd never be able to talk to you. And that's just how it is. You'd be so confined to the types of people that are around you. And, if you're grow up in a certain place or whatever, the types of people around you are going to be different. And it just makes so many things more possible to learn and get more perspectives. And yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Twitch is the platform that we both, stream on. Is there like a particular reason you chose Twitch, or and not YouTube or Facebook, or maybe your sister has something to do with that, perhaps?
Yeah, for my sister, it would for that, it would be my sister and the familiarity of it. Yeah, that would I wasn't I don't think YouTube, because I started around the same time as you. It was end of October 2020, so
Hmm.
basically the same. And I YouTube streaming wasn't, I don't know if it was being talked about at all back then, or if it was more of just like an idea. But yeah, Twitch was the hot thing, especially a couple years ago when I started streaming.
Nice. Yeah. My first stream was on YouTube. I didn't have
Oh,
a camera.
cool.
Yeah, I didn't have a camera or anything like that. I just the PlayStation 4 gives you an option to push the share button, and it gives you choices like, do you want to stream on Twitch, or do you want to stream on YouTube, or do you want to stream on Facebook? So I was like, well, I guess YouTube, because I watch YouTube all the time. And nobody was there. Of course.
Yeah, it is quiet. It's
Nobody.
very quiet over there. I
Yeah.
followed like friends that have big followings over there. They ended up coming back to Twitch, but and I commend that. It's a leap of faith, but yeah, it's not popping.
No. Well, there's some people out over on YouTube that are doing pretty good. Um, some of them have come from Twitch on over to YouTube, and obviously, bigger streamers. Their following is going to follow them anywhere that they go. But I do know that there are some streamers that came up with me that actually decided that they would go over to YouTube, and they're having a bit of a hard time, truthfully, growing,
Yeah.
because it's a different platform versus Twitch, way different, and it has potential, but I don't like the chat per se, because there are some streamers that I do go support that I know here. Like, they don't have emotes, and everything's kind of weird. You have to type people's names in to talk to them. You can't just add
Yeah,
them
the
like.
chat was clunky and it definitely affected it. People were not as social, I found.
Right, right. North Wolf, what's up, my man? Welcome on in. One Journey, I see you. Hello, hello. Happy Saturday. Welcome on into the podcast. Got my special guest here, Rockettuey. Rocket, I don't even think I've asked you, where are you from?
I'm from up on the border north of Seattle, just straight up I-5 in Washington, but now I live in Central Oregon.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
nice,
tippy
nice.
tippy top, as far northwest basically as you can get.
North Wolf says he has this shirt. You have this shirt?
Oh, nice.
DBZ. I love Dragon Ball Z. Love it. I'm doing great, North. Everything is wonderful. We're all good. Yeah, you made it, Luigi. Welcome on in. Welcome, welcome. D Sassy Gamer. Look at all the cool kids coming in now. What's
I
up? What's
know.
up? Beautiful, beautiful. Good to be here, enjoying the vibe. We'll get you some coffee, get you some water, get some popcorn. We're gonna be here a while. We got a lot of things to talk about. We're just giving this brief intro, and I'm up here talking to Rocketsugi about where she's from. How's the weather over that way?
Oh, it's very hot. Where I'm at now is it's the high desert, so it's about we've been having that 90 to 105-ish, so not as bad as some places, but where I'm from is cold, wet, rainy most of the year.
Nice.
You're in Florida, right?
Yes, and it's hot. It is
I'm over
very
it.
hot. Yeah, I can't do this anymore. I've been living here my entire life, and people will say, "Well, oh, you should be used to it by now." I'm like, no, no. How can you get used
No.
to? No. I walk outside. I feel like I've just opened my oven that's been preheating, for like 10 minutes. That's how it feels. Like Crafty will tell you when we walk out, sometimes you may have to take more than one shirt because I sweat hard,
Yeah.
heavy. That's just me. So it's not that flattering, to be honest. So there's certain colors that that I like
Oh
I,
yeah, same.
I like gray. I love gray, but I can't.
Nope, that's the worst one.
Right. North Wolf, I love me some popcorn. What kind of popcorn? Are we talking like butter? Are we talking like caramel popcorn? What kind of popcorn are we talking about? I love popcorn too.
I'll mess
Um,
with any popcorn.
any popcorn?
Almost, yeah.
So, video games. What are some of the what are you streaming right now? Um, you were streaming. But before you answer that question, you saw what I said in your chat, right? You always have the most
Yes.
interesting choice of games. Like when you go to a Rockettuey stream, you're not gonna see Fortnite, you're not gonna see Apex, you're not gonna see COD, you're not gonna see any of that. You're gonna see something that's gonna make you scratch your head. Like,
It's
what
like you
is
probably haven't heard of it.
what is this? Like, it's you have a thing for indie games, don't you?
I actually realized that the other day. I was like, wow, I play almost exclusively indie games, and I never really realized that.
Hey, I like indie too because it's personable.
Yeah.
It's not mainstream. And I've always feel like fans are some of the best game developers,
Oh yeah,
personally.
absolutely. It's hard because it's hard to find any information about games. Like I've gotten to really difficult points or can't figure something out, and we'll have people trying to Google it and figure it out, and there's just nothing on it. I'm like, okay, and they can be hit and miss, but yeah, I like entertaining games that entertain, I guess, me.
And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So I take it that you're not the type of streamer that necessarily listens to the community when it comes to playing, or do you just play what Rocketui wants to play?
Weirdly enough, a lot of the stuff that I play comes from people in the community. So, like, I played 2 games in a row that were community suggestions. This one that I played today, someone gifted me because they wanted me to play. If it's something I'm interested in, I'll usually give it a try, but it's kind of a bit of both. I'll randomly just surprise them with a new game that I want to play, or something they suggest that looks fun.
Nice. What about horror? You into horror?
Yes, I thought I was gonna be way more of like a horror streamer when I started. I was like, oh, I'm gonna play like a scary movie. I wanted to play a different type of game like on every day that I streamed, and it's just like,
Oh
okay,
gosh,
that's
yeah.
that's yeah, that's not gonna work. I was like, I'll do Stardew Sunday,
hmm
horror day on Tuesday, blah blah blah, and it's way too much to juggle.
I've tried that. It doesn't work.
Nope, nope.
No, it doesn't work. There's a streamer I'm thinking about now. He every time he makes his schedule, streams Monday through Friday, and I'll ask you a question in a minute about that. But Monday it's like Halo. Tuesday it's Mario 3. Wednesday it's like COD. I'm like, oh my gosh, like
Ye- Nope.
you're getting so many different audiences because everybody does not like these games, right?
Yeah,
So I'm like, is
yeah.
that hurting your viewership by switching so many games throughout the week? Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I know. I wonder because then it also you're gonna bring in different types of community members and different types of communities. And I don't know how that would look necessarily with. I mean, I've had that a little bit. I definitely have someone who comes in usually on a game, whatever, however weird it is that I'm playing, that loves that game, and they might end up sticking around for a while. But yeah, usually it seems that they will come specifically for that game, and yeah, I
hmm
think that would be it's cool in theory, but I do think that would probably hurt your viewership wouldn't be consistent, and it'd be hard to get a feel for where you're at.
Unless you have people that are just there for you, like some people will come regardless of what you
Oh
play, but
yeah.
the new people, let's just say you're playing I don't know, Zelda maybe, and someone searches for Zelda, and oh look, you're playing Zelda today, so I think I'm gonna come check you out. And then the next day, you're playing Resident Evil. I'm like, never. I thought I found somebody new, and I'm not gonna come back anymore. I've had that happen to me before. I
Yeah.
have. Mm-hmm. I was
Yeah, I've
spending
had that
time.
happen with DBD. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're not a DBD streamer," and I'm like, "Oh no, I mean we just play with the community every once in a while," but they'll want that to be, "Oh, no, not a DBD streamer."
Right. Right. And I don't think I could play the same thing over and over. Truthfully,
No,
you
I
know.
definitely can't. That's what I'm like. Well, I think it's definitely harder for variety to get an audience or
Yeah.
solid thing built up. But yeah, I could not play the same game forever.
Yeah. Hey, to each his own. If that's what
Yeah,
they want to do, let them do that. I'm thinking of somebody now. I've only seen this person stream Dead by Daylight and maybe Fortnite a handful of times, and that was it. Like nothing
yeah,
else, nothing else. And I guess if that's what a streamer wants to be known as, because that's a thing. I'm a Dead by Daylight
totally.
streamer. I'm a horror streamer. I consider myself to be more so of an RPG streamer. I like role playing games. So
Yeah.
sometimes you'll see Final Fantasy, you'll see Xenoblade, you'll see things like that. And then every so often I'll play a retro title or Fortnite. I've always been one to stream what I like. If I'm gonna
It
do
comes
this,
through too. I really like watching your streams because I've usually never heard of the game, and you're always super into it, and I can tell you're enjoying the game, and I
right?
love the retro games. I'm really unexposed to retro games, so
hmm I love
yeah,
it.
you gotta play what you enjoy for sure.
That's how I started. I started just playing what I wanted to play, and I feel like if a streamer is not enjoying themselves, like, what's the point?
Oh yeah, yeah,
There was a streamer who put a tweet out, I think it was like last year, and she was like, I quote, I want to play other games, but I'm afraid that I'll lose my viewership. And I'm like, wow, see,
oh,
that's what I'm talking about right there. Um, And to be honest with you, it's one of the reasons I do this as well, like the podcast, and I do the just chatting segments. So the community or whoever happens to come through during these time periods will get to know me a whole lot more versus just seeing more of me playing a video game. So I think that's a good strategy to see whether you want to be a part of this person's community. Like, do you like me for me, or do you like me just because I play what you like?
yeah, you see a lot of that. But I remember you had put on Twitter quite a while ago. You were like, my advice, something along these lines was like, no matter how weird you think something is that you make or do, like put the weirdest thing out there because
Yes.
that's going to make you find the people that are going to be, want to be around you and think that you're funny or think enjoy the safe space you've created. So
Right.
I'm like, yo, it's very weird, but I have met some really cool people just by playing silly games, laughing. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's a really important part is creating those relationships because you can have the type of stream where you just are really, really good at that game you play and everyone just loves watching you play the game you're good at. Or the game you can just be there for building relationships.
Right. Right. Yeah. I still stand by that. Whatever you think is weird, whatever you think is strange, put it out there. Because I think all of us are kind of weird. All of us are a little strange. Our
Yeah.
sense of humor. Everyone's not gonna, get your sense of humor, but at the same time, there's always gonna be somebody out there who can relate. And every time I've ever had an idea, I throw it out there, and people are like, wow, I
Yeah.
did that. And I love it. I love it. So I'll always do that. And Crafty, me and her are like two different people. I'll have an idea, and in fact, I put it on TikTok. I don't know if you saw it. It was a video I made about. Um, I don't know if you play any fighting games, but fighting games, player select screen, and sometimes you'll put the cursor over on a particular character, and they have like a fighting stance. And I
Yeah.
did that, and it was people were just
Oh, that was
cracking up.
hilarious. I did see
Yeah,
that. The types of
yeah.
fighters. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Crafty's like, she's cringing up. I said, if it makes you cringe, I'm putting it out there. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm putting it out
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
That's it.
exactly.
Yes.
Nope, I love that.
That is me all the way around. I just, yeah.
No,
Okay.
I think that's great.
So let's get a little bit more deep with you. So, wherever you're comfortable with, of course. Talk to me about your childhood, teenage years, the young Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like multiple sided, I guess, with everybody. I grew up in a really small town on a farm that my grandpa owns, like that real tiny town stuff. And so there was always lots of things to do. I showed animals, so my main thing was just I was a little horse girl, and so after school, it was a long commute to school, and long day, and then we get back and take care of the animals. And we never had a lot of money, but my parents made sure that we like could do whatever we wanted. Like if we wanted to play a sport, they actually both coached for the Boys and Girls Club, so they were always my coaches, and they were really involved in that sort of way. Very busy. They both worked full time. And then as I got a little older, I guess I kind of became a little pain for a while, but no family's perfect.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I can attest to that.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a busy childhood. There was never, and I have two siblings, and we're all really close in age. So and we all played music and sports and had hobbies. So it was just very busy, very family oriented as well.
Nice, nice. That family is, to me, is so important. So
Yeah,
important. Like the structure of the family, spending time together. Um, Truth be told, it's one of the main reasons why I don't really hit the gas with streaming. I really
yeah,
value my time with my family, my kids, and my oldest is a sophomore in high school. He has a couple of more years left, and then it's off to college for him. And I just want to make sure that I'm giving him 100% all the time. And wherever I can take away from to give to him, I'm going to do that. And, that takeaway is, pretty much this, live streaming, because I spent a lot of time doing this last year. Mainly because, during COVID, of course, they were homeschooled. They didn't go to regular school. Everybody was here. I saw them all the time. Now it's not the case. So, here's an example, for instance. Like, I told you before we went live that I get up in the morning really early and I go to work at 5. The kids have to be out of the door by about 7:30. I don't get to see them. So, because I'm working, I don't get to see them. I get a break in the middle of the day, and then around the time that they have to come home from school, I have to go back to work. So I don't get a chance to see them. I miss them again when they come out. So I'm like, ugh, like I need to spend some time with my children. And then, the day winds down and we get to about maybe 7 p.m. I get home at about 7:45 and I get about an hour, a good hour and a half with them. Hey, how was your day? What can I help with your homework? Oh, mom took care of it. I'm like, leave me something to do, please. Like, I want to be included. I do. So when you factor that in, like, hey, when is the next time you're going to stream? I'm like, I don't know, because I have to do this all over again tomorrow.
yeah,
It's time to get back up again, and it's time to redo it all over again, and make sure that home is taken care of, and each of my kids have dad, as much of me as I possibly can. So when you say, you all had really, really strong roots with family, I respect that. I really do, because I want my kids to be able to say, hey, when we're older, dad worked a lot, but he loved us. He loved
Yeah.
us. And I'm blessed to be able to take my kids with me to work sometimes. I don't take them all the time, but sometimes I'll take them, just so they can, see me and I can see them, at work, and they get excited. They like to be around my clients. I told you I had a good relationship with them. They love my kids, like they really do. But
Oh, yeah, that would be a cool environment. I remember going and visiting my parents at work, and your job definitely would be a fun one to go to. And
yes,
it's still
yes,
time that they will remember having you, no matter what you're doing.
right, right. S- Something funny happened the other day, and Crafty's here. So I get home, and she was like, Nick, which is my youngest son, he went to work with me, and he went to Crafty. He was like, guess what? I seen Daddy's new girlfriend, and I almost spit my water out. I'm like, oh,
Like,
what are you talking? I'm like, what are you talking about? What girlfriend? There's nobody. I don't have a girlfriend. So I'm like, that's not what he meant.
oh,
But luckily, she was laughing because she knew
she
he
knows,
she
yeah.
she knows she knew that he didn't know any better. He's only 7, so
Oh, I
yeah,
saw Daddy's new girlfriend. That's
yeah,
classic. That's
yes,
classic.
yes. So I'm like, wait a minute, hold on just a second, man. Like, there's nobody else. Trust me. And
Like
he's the
Halo
flirt.
guy.
He's the flirt. That kid flirts with every pretty woman he sees.
Oh, yeah,
Every
that age is hilarious. Oh,
Yes,
another girlfriend, another girlfriend.
exactly. We've already said he's gonna be the one that we have to keep our eyes on. We gotta watch him, okay? Gotta
Oh,
watch him.
yeah.
But it's nonetheless, it's all a blessing, and I'm just taking it all in because I know that one day they won't be that small anymore. They'll be all grown up, and I don't want them to grow apart from me. Some kids, they grow up through their teenage years and adulthood, and they're like, I can't wait to get away from home. I can't wait to get away from mom and dad and yada yada yada. So, and I asked my oldest, I'm like, are you gonna move out when you're 18? He's like, do I have to? I'm like, no, of course not.
No.
Yeah, you stay. It's I'm not gonna kick them out. I don't believe in kicking out your kid at 18. Like, do you let me ask you a question. Do you feel like a teenager is mentally stable to take care of themselves at 18?
No. And I moved out. I did that. I left the night I graduated high school and I moved out,
Hmm.
and it is difficult. I think some can for sure, but I think a lot of people underestimate it. And yeah, it's weird. It's like you're one day away from being a high school student versus being a full blown adult,
Hmm.
as in essentially in people's eyes or how you view your life. But yeah, no, I think people should take more time if that's an option. And I think I'm glad my parents never made me feel like I had to go. And I've had times where I moved back in with my mom and all that kind of stuff. But
Hmm.
no, it's hard. It's hard. And man, I think back to 18, I'm like, how did I do that?
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't move out until like I was my mid 20s.
Yeah,
I was never encouraged to leave, but I just wanted that sense of independence of having my own and
exactly. And like, I
not
can do this.
right, yeah, not having to listen to anybody or follow these rules.
Oh, yeah, that was my big thing. I was like, "Nope, I wanna be alone, and I don't want anyone in my business," and all that stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, if there was something that you could tell the younger you, what would it be?
That is it's kind of, I guess, the same stuff that I tell myself now. A lot of it is like when I think about speaking to a younger version of me, it's like, oof, it's a lot of the stuff that I kind of try to tell myself now, like not like a fake it till you make it, but kind of. Oof, not trying to let go of control, I think. and not like controlling people or anything like that because I'm very easygoing with that. But as far as life, like I really think that I can control, the outcome of a situation that I'm involved in, or if I just try hard enough to understand something, or if I think about and analyze something enough times, I can make the right decision. And just that, just kind of not making fear-based decisions. And yeah,
Mm.
just letting go of the that need to try to control if bad things happen to me or people I love. Just that it's a really, for some reason, something that I really struggle with.
Nice, nice. I think that we're constantly growing. Year after year, we're always learning. None of us have it all together. I don't have it all together, but I definitely know that I have a lot better perspective on life now than I did when I was, 18, 19, 20. Of course, I had the mindset when I was about 16, 17, 18. Hey, I could do whatever I want, and no one can tell me what to do. And I look back on it, I'm like, no, no, you can't. You couldn't. You did a lot of stupid things, and you know, if I
Yeah.
c- if I could go back in time, I would just tell myself to slow down, be a little
Yeah.
bit more patient with things. Patience is something that even to this day that I feel like I have it, but I feel like I could use more. But when I was younger, I had no patience. I didn't want to wait for anything. Everything needed to be done ASAP, immediately. And why? I don't know. That ended up making things incomplete. That ended up causing me to make, bad decisions, of course, just by rushing things. Even to this day, just rushing things. I'm still trying to get to where I don't have to, do that anymore. And I don't know what it is. I don't know why I feel like I have to do things in a hurry. It's not as bad as it was, because it was really bad when I was young. But I feel like it's gonna take a little bit more, I guess, experience throughout life to force me to slow down and to not make, harsh, rash decisions. I mean, don't we all make rash decisions in our 20s, right? I feel like 20s is the training wheels.
Yeah.
That's the training
Yeah, no, a
wheels.
lot of this it sinks and hits for sure. Being exactly, I've just once I think I know that I want something or that I need something or it's the best thing for me, I rush into it, do whatever I think I can to make it work instead of just waiting. And it's crazy how many decisions you can make in that mindset that affect your life for a long time.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I was going through your Instagram. I go to Instagram all week, of course. Next to Twitter, there's Instagram, and I post a lot on there too. I didn't know that you were like such a heavy advocate for reading.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
go through phases with that for sure, where I
yeah.
cannot stop reading and then I don't read for a while.
So when you read, is that taking the place of like other forms of being productive or maybe entertainment, perhaps? Like what got you into reading?
Yeah, I started getting really into reading with like self-help books was kind of how it started and just trying to consume as much, and I would do it too fast. So I would just plow through a book trying to like grow or fix these things about myself. And I just got really hooked that way. For me, I think it takes the time of what I if I would be scrolling on my phone.
Mm,
I'm like, because I know realistically, I'm like, I wouldn't be doing something productive right now. I would trying to be lay low, but I guess it replaces TV or scrolling, and it just engages. I find my brain in a different way because you've got to imagine the characters, or if it's nonfiction, I'd really like to read that as well. But yeah, I mean, I have a weird complex, and I think you could relate probably of just anything I'm doing that is not productive and not pushing me towards goals. I have a really hard time just sitting in that, and reading just makes me do it.
right, right. You said you like to read a lot of like self-help books and things that I guess to provoke thoughts and to get us to be a little bit more, I guess, increase the quality of life per se. Um, I'm reading quite a few books right now, and I'll be the first to say that reading is not my strong point. I have a very hard time with being consistent with a book. I find that I'm a little bit more interested in nonfiction, versus fiction. So it has to be something that I feel is going to help me, something that's going to make me better, something I can take with me throughout life and perhaps teach somebody else. One of the books I'm reading is, how 15 ways how successful people utilize time management skills. Time management is so big because, again, I have so many things I have to do throughout the day. And if I don't schedule it out or write it down, everything's going to be all over the place. So I'm constantly trying to figure out, how can I manage my time? What can I cut out? What can I let go of? And it's just like you said, if you weren't reading a book, you would be, on your phone, just scrolling down Instagram or scrolling down Twitter, taking in the news feed. So let me ask you this. So what advice would you give somebody who struggles with being consistent with reading?
For that, I think for me at least, I have to be really interested in the book. And I think you've just got to find the right type of thing that you like to read. For me, yeah, I didn't even read any fiction books for years. And it wasn't until maybe 6 months ago, I asked my sister, I was like, all right, give me your favorite fantasy books. Like, I need to read to just go on an adventure versus read to learn, because that's what I would do a lot of before. But yeah, as far as people who, or maybe podcasts or audiobooks, I really enjoy those too. And to me, that I have better memory with things I hear. So I think the value of that helps a lot, because sometimes you can't multitask when you read, but you can maybe multitask a little bit when you listen.
Right.
But yeah, reading's not for everyone. I've definitely met people who are like, I just don't like reading. I'm like, oh, that makes sense to me. But I would try different types of books. Like you said, if you can think of a topic of something specific that you're interested in, like time management. For me, it was like a lot of positive self thoughts, or like a lot of living in the moment type of thing, not the whole trying to destination happiness, or just things I struggle with, I find to be really interesting.
Nice. Yeah, I think that I'm down the middle. It's not that I dislike reading. I really do enjoy it, but I don't think I'll ever be a quote unquote bookworm. Like, I remember,
Yeah.
I can recall, like, even being a child, I never liked reading. That was one of the things that teachers would, constantly tell my folks, like, hey, he's struggling in reading. He doesn't seem to be interested in reading, and I really wasn't, interested in reading. And I guess it does come down to finding what piques your interest, and again, it's fiction, nonfiction for me, because I like to learn. That's one thing about me. But you mentioned audiobooks. So I have Audible, downloaded on my phone, and that's actually what I'm listening to with the 15 tips from successful people about time management. Do you like the fact that just listening to the book is enough? Like, because you can't look at any words, it's just listening. Does that bother you, or is that okay?
No, I love podcasts and just listening to stuff. I have Yeah, I don't think I have any issues against that. I really do. I think I should probably get Audible, but
Mm,
no, I think it could be enough if you're doing something like a self-help thing, as long as, like, I like to do reflections, I like really slow down and take it piece by piece, and kind of, if they suggest doing a type of activity, I really try to do that mentally. So I think if you try to do that after you listen to it, or you're
mhm.
engaging mentally with what's going on, I think that's enough. I've always learned more in class from the lecture than reading, so I can see it
Okay,
being
nice.
sufficient.
Let's see. I'm just reading this comment here. I love reading until it was required. and I couldn't keep up. I spent literal decades burnt out on reading because of that. Um, it's an interesting comment right there. So I remember I used to train this lawyer, law school, and he told me that there was so much reading involved with the curriculum of, studying law that he could not stomach reading anymore after that. Like it was just completely unrealistic for him to read anything after that. So he was, just like Noel here says, he was burnt out. I get it. I
Yeah.
personally haven't reached that point of being burnt out because I'm a firm believer in remaining an open book, and I've never been the type of person to say, "Oh, I know it all." Like there's everything to know. Like no, I don't know it all. There are things I don't know, which is why I like to talk to people that are at least about a good 15, 20 years older than I am, so that they can kind of give me some kind of manage not manage but mentor me and teach me things in which I don't know, like kind of, hey, tell me what's ahead, what do I have to look
Yeah.
forward to. Look, don't just let me just go into life and with a blindfold on. Teach me some things because I like that. I love talking to older people.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I really adore that. I have a good friend that I hung out with the other night. He's 65, and we were getting kind of sentimental over drinks, and he was like, "Our friendship is such a pure friendship." And I was like, "Yeah, it's a very I think wisdom is not, I mean, it's a very real thing. And it's kind of hard to explain. It's not like every old person is wise or
Yeah,
anything like
right.
that,
Yeah,
but the
okay.
time yeah, but the time and the experiences, if they are outliving their life in a good way, you got to assume that they have a lot of knowledge. Like you said, what's ahead? And it's kind of with my friend, he tells me what he dreams about and what he's scared of. And I'm like, it's very different at 65 versus 30. And it gives me insight to aging for sure and life.
Nice, nice. Aging, that's a good subject right there. So sometimes I see people that are like in their 50s, and I have to send you a picture of this guy he's 56 years old and his wife is 53, and they both look not a day over 40. I'll say they look great, like really, really good. Um, some people have it in their heads, oh, I'm 40 or I'm 45. Like you're speaking as if life is over. I'm at the age of, no return. Like you're basically cutting yourself short when it comes
Oh
to
yeah.
the quality of life because there are people that are, way older than me that are having the time of their life. They're traveling, they're still driving, they're smiling, they're glowing, things of that nature. I'm always thinking about that. Like I want to be, that's what I want. That's what I aspire when I'm older. And a lot of that takes place now, like right now. Like what we do today is definitely going to show in our appearance, in our mentality, everything when we're older. The choices of today, of course, will, tell the unforeseen future. How do you feel about that? About aging, we'll say.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and I've seen you tweet some stuff about just personal stuff with how you feel about yourself at different ages versus now. And I'm the same way. I saw someone today that said, don't let anybody get you caught up in the age stuff." It's like, I'm 44 and I've never loved myself and I've never loved my life as much as I do right now. And I view it the same way as you for sure. It's hard and it's daunting to try not to get caught up on certain aspects of aging, but it's the one thing that is going to happen to everybody and you
Right.
cannot escape it. And it just seems to be such a better idea to embrace that and yeah, make the decisions today, because realistically the longer you have, the more time you've got to make the choices to build what you want and achieve what you
Right.
want. And yeah, no, I do, and I feel a lot of people, can put that on you sometimes. Like some people just naturally, oh, I'm 40, I'm 50, my life is over. My
Right.
mom does that kind of stuff and it drives me crazy. And she's
Mm-hmm.
53. I'm like, you are out of your mind. Like, that is such a bad mindset.
Right. The
And
mind.
yeah,
The mind.
yep, it's the mind. And like you said, you can see two people that are the same age that look 15 years apart. And a lot of that I find correlates with like their overall happiness and
Mm.
the there's like satisfaction with life.
That's a really, really good point. Talk to You can talk to two people that are around the same age, and if one of them seems to look a little bit more different than the other, or maybe one looks younger than the other, they probably have two different mindsets. Like, okay, so Luigi here says, I think it's a negative mentality from previous generations because they hear you're almost 30 or 30 something. The phrase is always it's downhill from there. Yeah, I hear that all the time. Like, oh, when you're 30, your back's gonna start popping in your knees. I'm like, oh Lord, stop it, stop it. But when you hear that over and over and over, and it's coming from different directions, you almost start believing it.
Yeah, because you start to get it from younger people too. And that's something that always makes me feel a bit weird. I went out with a friend the other day, I think she's 28, and we got ID'd, and she was like, thanks for not saying you're over 30, right? Because someone did that to me the other day. And I was like, wait, you're 28, but you're offended by someone thinking you're 30 and I'm 30. And I was like, what's that? But you do start people sometime, or she said, well, you wear it great. And I was like, what do you think 30 is supposed to look like? I think it's very
Right?
interesting. Yeah, a lot of younger people, they just act like 30 is this. I remember my mom cried when she turned 30, and I was getting nervous around my 30th, and I didn't bat an eye at it. If anything, I'm excited for it. But yeah, it comes from a lot of directions, and you do kind of start to believe it. And if you're not where you're at with where you thought you'd be with a family or a career, you really do start to think like, oh my God, am I way behind everybody? And
Right.
it's a lot of socially to battle against. And I think that gets the best of a lot of people.
Right. I agree. Some people feel like they need to be at particular parts of their life. Like, I should be married at this age, or I should have kids at that age, or I should have a house around this time period. Like, I always like to use the analogy of seeds, for instance. Like, I mean, it could be flowers, it could be fruits. Let's just say a farmer plants seeds in the soil, and on the same day, so all of the seeds go down in the ground on the same day, so they all get equal amounts of treatment, which is sunlight, oxygen, water. And then weeks go by, months go by, you start seeing them sprout up out of the ground. They're not going to come up equally no matter what. One's always going to be ahead of the other, and there's always going to be that one that's lagging behind. But eventually, all of them are going to make their way out of the soil and then blossom in due time. So that is how I view life. It's very easy to compare yourself to other people, especially with social media. You know,
Yeah.
creating fabricated lifestyles. Um, I don't ever struggle where I have this and I have that. Like, you just have the perfect life and you just feel like, ugh, I'm over here just trying to
What am I?
survive.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I take it one day at a time. So I'm at that point right now where I don't really focus too much on other people, but I just focus on my life and what makes me happy and what's in front of me at the moment.
Yeah, definitely going through kind of a phase like that as well. It's really hard, but I'm like, all right, I'm at that time when I've lived life a certain way, especially in my 20s, maybe with people pleasing or just
Mhm.
full on putting others before myself. And it's like, all right, that didn't work for me. And it'd
Right.
be one thing if it was fulfilling me in a way, but if there's that feeling of being drained or, falling short on taking care of yourself, it's not worth it.
Right. Right. Okay. Before we get into this next subject, I wanna just take a moment to acknowledge the chat here. D Cannon, thank you for the lurk. And I love the fact that you all are talking to each other here in the chat. You know, I know a lot of you are over from Rockettuey's community, and hopefully you are enjoying the vibes over here and the energy. Hopefully, I'm giving you some good energy for you to feed off of, and that this conversation is something that can get you through this Saturday. You know, whether you're at work or whether you're at home or in the car doing yard work, I don't know, but you're here right now, and I definitely appreciate you all. We appreciate you. You know,
For
it's
sure.
it's definitely not easy to make a stream. I get it. You know, most of us work and we got other things that we have to do. It's not easy. I miss streams all the time and I feel bad sometimes though, but um that's just life, folks. But we definitely appreciate you all very much. Um let's go ahead and get into the subject of art. Okay. So I looked at some of your art on Instagram and it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm like, man, we are about to get in this woman's head today.
I was
I
like, was
said,
it what you expected? Maybe
yeah,
chaotic.
yeah. Hey, chaotic. I mean, one could say that, but I see a personality. Like I just see something that I don't see all the time. It's enough to get my attention. Enough to get my
Thanks.
attention. Yes. What got you into art, and when did it become a passion for you?
Yeah, I've always liked I was definitely a more artistic as a kid. I was kind of like naturally good at kind of different things and then I stopped and the older I got, I really lost a lot of that. Like I mean down to like my handwriting got worse.
Mm,
Um my drawings like I can't draw and but I've always really liked creating and I'm like I can't just not make art because I don't have this skill and I mean you can get better for sure but there's also I think kind of a natural ability for things. I found someone on Instagram I bet like 5 years ago that was doing that kind of digital collage more like trippy stuff and I would have all these ideas and I'm like oh I want to make this like but I don't know how to do that and I started with like a free app using my finger and working
mm,
off my phone and it was
wow.
just like and then I with the person I was dating at the time they bought me a tablet and then I really started probably like 5 years ago but I've been on a pretty big hiatus right now it's tough
Like a
but I've
hiatus
always
from art.
loved it. Yeah, like it's been kind of a block for maybe like a year. It's been really hard to sit down and just let myself make something. I'm getting really picky and I get hesitant and it feels like if I don't think it's good enough, it's hard to put out. So just battling a lot of stuff like that. And if I'm not doing a lot and having a lot of experiences, I'm not as inspired. So a lot of it is my fault because I haven't been going out and being in environments that inspire me.
So your art, well, maybe not all of it, seems to be conditional, meaning you
Yes.
have to be in specific scenarios or experience certain things in order to put this together. I think that's unique because
Yeah.
some people can just look at something and just paint it, or there are others who just conjure up thoughts and then just put it on paper. That's why art is like unique.
Yeah, and that's what I think, like, when I hail, like, the ultimate artist, that's kind of what I envision, which, yeah, I just I don't have that, it's very conditional, and, when it's there, it's really there, and when it's
Mhm.
not, it's I can sit down and make something, but that's kinda why I've never got into commissions because every time I've tried, I have found it like, "Oh, I can't work with those parameters," or whatever,
Mm.
it's like a block and a second guessing.
So if somebody came to you and said, "Hey, I have an idea. This, and this," you don't think that you could conjure something up in your mind and put that together? Like if they gave you the tools, perhaps?
Yeah, I think I could. It's a lot of it is like my self blocking myself or
Mm,
holding myself back. And I struggle with that often the whole imposter syndrome, limiting yourself.
mhm,
And I never used to be like that. And then all of a sudden, it became my ideas or my creative ideas became more scary to share, which I don't know why. I've always been around really supportive people in that sense.
Hmm. You know what they say? We're our own worst enemy, or we're our own worst critic, and we tend
Yeah.
to get in. I know I get in my way about just about everything, and I have issues with procrastination sometimes. Like, is this going to be good enough, or what if I don't get this done at that time? Well, one thing is for sure: if you don't put the right foot after the left, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
um Scenarios, that's something I have an issue with too. See, it's not just you, you're being vulnerable right now. I can too. That's why we're here. This is supposed to be an experience, and I'm gonna be transparent and let you see right through me. I have issues with playing unrealistic scenarios over in my head. Like, I will say, well, what if this happens, or what if that happens?
Yeah.
And then I'll just cower away, or just cave away, like, let me just go back this way where I'm comfortable. But where I'm comfortable is never going to get me to where I want to be. Because in life, they say, well, to get where you want to be, you have to get uncomfortable. And like you said, you've always had supportive people in your life. So it's not the people, it's not that you don't have the system, it's the person, it's you,
Yeah.
or it's me. So I think that a person, people like us, we need to look a little bit more deeper. Okay, let's get to the bottom of this. Let's get to the core. What's keeping us from moving forward? Is it the fact that we're playing unrealistic scenarios over in our heads? Is it fear? Is it perhaps we're concerned about what people are going to think? Stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I guess was getting at with the younger self, like that feeling of control. I'm like, if I think about the 15 different things that could happen from this, I can somehow fix it, or I can make it be translated right, or I can make this outcome happen. And that I think a lot of it is the fear and that uncomfortability. It's something that I've talked about a lot in therapy. Actually, it's that whole. She'll ask me, "Has that worked? How has that worked for you so far?" And I'm like, "Dang!" And it's like we will do the same thing or act in the same way or do the same thought patterns over and over and over again that are not gonna nothing will change. The whole nothing changes if nothing changes. And I have to
Yeah,
tell myself that all the
yeah,
time. I'm like,
right.
I just wait. I think that it's gonna hit me and this decision or whatever is just gonna happen. But yeah, not making fear-based decisions. I think a lot of people, because I've talked to some people that are very miserable in their life situation right now, and it's impossible to help them because everything that you suggest or anyone suggests is just not going to work. It's not going to work. And it's so
Hmm.
interesting because it's like, man, you couldn't get more away from what you want, or you couldn't get sadder, but yet you are so afraid to do anything. And it's a really hard thing because I've been there. I've been the person where that's not going to work. I can't do that. That's not going to work for me. And it's really difficult to work with, especially if people don't have people that are encouraging them and maybe having uncomfortable conversations.
Right. Right. Yeah. Again, that's why, I have a select few people that are in my life right now that I talk to and that hold me accountable, and I hold them accountable as well. But I feel like if a person doesn't truly believe in themselves, and it's no matter how much you pour into them, it's not gonna happen. It's not like I can sit here all day and say, hey, you know, put your art out there. Maybe you should go out into the world and venture a little bit and try to get inspired. But there still has to be something inside of you, like a personal desire, I guess, to to actually do it, you
Yeah,
know.
you've got to do that action. And it is sometimes people just, I guess, freeze up. And I definitely do the same thing. But I think a lot of it is probably just fear or having to get used to a different kind of discomfort. Because a lot of the times you are just trading types of discomfort along the
Right.
way to
Right.
achieving what you prioritize or
Absolutely. Absolutely. Have you ever put any of your art on display, like maybe like a art show or something like that?
no, I haven't.
Mm. What if, what if that could be the missing component that inspires you. Like, let's just say, here's a scenario: you take your art and you go somewhere and you put it on display, and give people an opportunity to see it. I feel like, people see it, like, on your Instagram, but there may be people who actually could be interested in what it is you have to show, maybe in your local city or something like that. That may motivate you and inspire you to actually get out and to be more productive with it, because I feel like for instance, for me, when I was in school, I used to write poetry. Like, I wrote a lot of poetry, and when I got out of school, I stopped. I really don't know. You know what? Yes, I do. What motivated me to do it was loneliness. I was alone. So I found that writing kind of helped me cope. I put my thoughts on paper, and I never really share those things with anybody. But it wasn't until I got a little bit older, I started meeting people, and then, I got in relationships, and then obviously I met Crafty, and then I kind of just lost interest, like, completely. And the reason I'm thinking of this right now is because I was in her bathroom. We have separate bathrooms, and I found a poem that I wrote her when we were about 18 and 19, I believe. And I was like, wow, like, this is extremely old. My handwriting was different and everything. It was eye opening. I'm like, man, why did I stop doing this? I
Yeah,
used,
it's like it's so corny, but it's like a muscle. You stop working it out and it can be really difficult to break back through
Mhm.
doing that. And I also think, like you said, because you were lonely, maybe another cliche, but a lot of art comes from being in pain. Like, a lot of my most expressive pieces I made when I was just really down and going through something really hard. And because a lot of that times, some people are really social when they go through things and they want to be around people. I'm like a hermit, so if I'm going through something, I'm alone and I'm really, like, in my head the whole time. And that's when I like to write as well. And it's like, maybe not the most positive sounding thing, but I do tend to be more creative when I'm sad.
That's okay. Everything doesn't have to be positive.
Yeah.
That's just life right there. All of our thoughts and experiences are not going to be super positive, and even those sad moments or those dark moments, when we put them on paper, people can relate to it.
Yeah,
I feel the way
very
you do.
relatable.
Yes. Um, let's go ahead and get into some streamer talk here. So we talked a little bit about why we're on the platform of Twitch, but let me ask you a question. So, as a streamer, I see it. I'm pretty sure you see it on Twitter, at least. There's a lot of, like, back and forth about, what's wrong on Twitch and what's considered to be right on Twitch. So, what are your thoughts on stream teams, support for support, follow for follow? These are pretty much the three hot takes, I'll say, that people are talking about. What do you think about those things?
Yeah. As far as stream teams, I think it really depends on the team. Um, I think, unfortunately, a lot of times when the team will get pretty big and broad, it kind of becomes like that follow for follow. You've got to host this person all the time.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't think that is effective a lot of the times. I'm on a stream team, but it's pretty small and it's very, very tight knit. And that has helped me a bit because all of us in it are similar in different ways. So the communities meshed really nicely, and everyone just got along really well. And I mean, I don't think it can only help so much, but I think it just
Right.
depends on the type of team you get on. If you get on one that has hundreds of people and they do push that follow for follow, you got to host, when everyone's on. I don't think that is it's kind of like, to me, it makes me think of like self promo channels in Discord. It's like, that's really, really rarely going to get the desired effect, I think. And same with
Mm-hmm.
follow for follow. Like, especially in streaming, if your goal is to grow monetarily or to grow your audience, if you want to achieve the partner goal kind of thing, follows aren't going to be really that important. I've seen people with 10,000 followers that have, a couple handful of viewers, and then I've seen people with 100 followers that have 40 viewers. It
Yeah.
just,
Yes.
I really think genuine connection and enjoyment of being somewhere is kind of the only thing that's gonna hold steady and get you where you want to go.
You're right. Absolutely. I agree. I know people who have like 5,000 followers, but maybe about 15, 20 people. I'm like, man, that doesn't even make any sense right here. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
It doesn't make sense.
right. Stream teams to me, because I'm on two right now, and they're different. They're both different. One of them is very, very supportive. The other is it's too saturated. Truthfully, there's way too many people, way too many people. Now I think that maybe the captains of the teams may have good intentions when they first create these teams, but then when you have like thousands of people on a stream team, how does that work?
Yeah, and why have something that is supposed to be kind of special or a
Hmm.
subset of some sort just end up being so vast? Yeah, and no hate at all. Just from a logical standpoint, I don't really get it.
Well, to people who really don't understand streaming, they think that wow, this team here has 1,000 members, so possibly I'm gonna have 1,000 people come through to
Yeah,
my stream. I'm like, no, that's not how that works. But
yeah,
um, because if you go, I'm pretty sure you see it. Like there's a page that shows everybody that's live on these teams, and there's a select few who may have like more, and then if you scroll all the way down, there are people who have like 2 and 3 and 4 viewers. I'm like, wow, you're on a team. How does that work? It doesn't make any sense. So, but yeah, I guess like what you said, you're on a team, but it's not overly saturated. It's not a lot of people. And I see that being a lot more realistic because I don't know if it's a team of 50 people or maybe 100. I think that that's fair for everybody. It's small enough for everyone to mingle and to support whomever you feel you want to support, because sometimes you may not always match with the people that are on the stream team.
yeah. And when it gets big like that, it's going to be a lot easier if you have a small team. I think on the one that I'm on, there's maybe like 30 something people, to the
Okay.
point where like we all interact, like we all have rated each other, we all hang out at each other's places genuinely too when we're off stream. And
Hmm.
so I do think that is really helpful. But like, yeah, once you get so many people and every different kind of game imaginable, every different kind of person imaginable, sometimes I think when they get so big, it's also harder to know what's maybe going on with the people that you have on your stream team and how
Yeah.
they're representing the whole team.
Right.
Because I'm sure there's drama in some of these communities. And
Yeah.
that can be really negative for you too, to
Yes, it can.
to negatively affect you. So depends on the team.
Yeah. And like I said, I stay out of it, of course. I see so much of drama and stuff on Twitter when it comes to these teams and the whole support for support and follow for follow thing. And I personally don't partake in any of that stuff. Like I said, I'm a firm believer in supporting whoever you want to. Be there
Yeah,
for whoever you want to. Follow who you want to follow. Like I can honestly say I have never ever asked anybody to follow me. Never. You'll never hear me say, "Hey, follow me." Okay, let me. No,
same. I
no,
cannot put those words
no,
out of my mouth.
no. I
Never
can't.
have. Because
No.
if you
So
want to, you know how it works, and you can find me. And yeah, if you
exactly.
want to you know how this platform works. So
Right, right. Like if you want to follow, like, everyone who's followed today, of course I appreciate it. And obviously there's a reason as to why they follow. Hopefully they like the vibes and keep coming back, to get to know who I am even better or to get to know who you are even better. But I'm not gonna ask anybody to follow me, and if you want to support, great. If not, then that's okay too, because we're not gonna be everyone's cup of tea.
yeah, exactly. It's like thinking about the, I guess, in real life equivalent is also just funny. Like, be my friend or say we're friends. Like, it's a weird thing to think about. Like, if you're
Yeah,
not really genuinely into that or whatever, it's like, yeah, or to expect everyone to like you, or doesn't work.
absolutely. Read this comment, Amo. But how will they know to like, follow, and subscribe if they don't say like, follow, subscribe?
Exactly.
Well, they have to be reminded to do those things. That sounds like YouTube right there. Like, follow and subscribe.
Yeah, smash that follow button.
I don't even do that. I can't. I just
Mm.
can't do
Nope,
it.
me neither.
It's just cringe. It's cringe. I can't. Um.
Yeah.
So I, like I said, I've been following you for quite some time. You have a really good community, decent sized community. Um. What would you say contributed to your growth on the platform? Because we started streaming around you. I think you started about a month before me.
Yeah, something like that. I think consistency was a big thing. As far as the days that I stream and stuff,
Yeah.
especially for the first year, I was like real solid. I didn't really take any time off. And then beyond that, I think making people feel important and like making sure that they feel like they can come in and talk to everybody and making everyone feel like they can get to know each other, and definitely just working on those relationships off of just being on stream. Networking in other communities, I think that to me has been a really big one. If you hang out in other communities that you like and enjoy, and after a while, if they find out that you stream as well and come over there,
Hmm.
that's, yeah, just getting to know people and also letting them get to know you. Like you said, how you'll do just chatting. Like, I
Hmm.
think it's important for people to get to know you. That's how you start to feel bonded to somebody. You start to care about them. It's just like how you would kind of go about a friendship.
Absolutely. I'm always trying to encourage streamers to do more of this. Do more of just chatting. Stop hiding behind your. I won't say hiding, but because some people they just feel uncomfortable with chatting and with talking, but so they utilize the game to blanket the fact that, oh, I don't have to sit here in front of everybody. Because I remember the first time I started doing just chatting, and the camera's not that big right now on the screen, but then I blew it up like completely. 19, 20, 1080p right across the screen. So I am like, you can see everything. You can see the back, you
Yeah.
can see everything, and that gives people anxiety. I'm like, oh, what if I don't know what to say? What if I trip over my words? Like, just say whatever comes to your mind. These people need to get to know you, and that's it. So it's just like there are some streamers who refuse to use cameras. Now, if you're somebody out there who streams, right, and you don't
Hmm.
have a camera, I'm not picking on you. I'm not. You keep doing what you do. But I will say that the camera does add character. It paints the picture. Oh, this is what Rockettuey looks like. I've been hearing the voice for a year, and bam. Example, I had a guest named Queen Shar. She's one of my moderators. Troll. We troll each other, bro. She was telling me that when she started streaming, she was on the PlayStation 4. She didn't have a camera. She had about maybe 15 people watching. She got a camera that jumped up to 30. So I was like, yeah, obviously. Like, wow. Like,
Yeah.
because some people will tune in. Like, it's a pretty girl. So it is what it is. That's just human nature. It is what it is. But what I was going to ask you is, you said that what helped your growth is going to different communities. How much time would you say you invested with, going to different communities and getting to know people?
It kind of varies, I guess, from week to week. I work from home, so there are times when a lot of the times I'll do lurking when I'm at work, which is really nice. And I'll just pop in and out. It's definitely not something I can dedicate a lot of time to. I'm a big lurker, so I'll come and say hello and catch up with people. Um, yeah, not too much. Just surprisingly, if you just are consistently showing up and saying hi and interacting with people over time, people will kind of just absorb you. Because I've had people ask, I just don't, I feel too shy to talk in like your chat or with your friends, but I want to talk. And I'm like, oh, if you just start talking and being a part of the conversation, people will, typically just immediately take you on into our little blob. So it's not a lot of time. I used to hear people talking. It might have been you actually on Twitter. Someone asked if you get more follows while you're live or while you're not live. And most people said while they're offline. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I definitely get most of my follows when I'm online. And I was like,
Hmm.
oh, if that's normal to get more offline, I'm not doing the right things when I'm offline, which is hanging out in other people's chats a lot of the
Hmm.
time. So once
Hmm.
I started doing that, I did start to get more follows when I wasn't streaming. It does help. And then they stop in, you're like, oh, wow, I saw you over here.
Right. I same here. A lot of people follow me offline versus, when I'm live. And it does come from going. Let's just say I go into OG Shinobi's stream, who's a great streamer by the way. He's a hardcore gamer. I may mingle with some people in his community, and they'll come follow me, and I'll follow them and check them out. Same with Carlos here in Detroit Thai. So yeah, I think it's normal to get more follows offline
Yeah.
versus being online. Absolutely. Um, just the first thing that comes to your mind, I want you to define networking. How do you define that?
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's kind of tough because you have to make a difference between like networking and just socializing. I
Hmm.
think networking is like when you find people that have similar interests or skills or goals and you share ideas with them and um, share things that can help each other, making connections. I definitely feel like there's a social aspect and then there's the aspect of you can learn or gain something from your relationship with them,
Hmm.
and not in a way that you're using them, but in the way that everyone's doing it the same way and you're meeting like-minded people through them, people who have the same interests. I guess that's how I think of
Okay.
it.
Okay. For me, networking is really taking time to invest into somebody that you're really interested in. Like we hear like the bigger streamers say all the time, like you gotta network. Like, yeah, but what does that mean? What does that look like? So I don't. I use myself as an example. Like I don't have time to sit and talk to 10 people a day. Like I'll see somebody, and you may have my interest, and I'll DM you. Let's talk. Let's just go back and forth, and I'll just spend time with that person offline. I'll spend time with that person in their chat until we grow somewhat of a relationship. Like for instance, there's 3 streamers: Bear Project, Bearded Legend Gaming, and Flash Carter. We've all known each other for well over a year, and we are so close now that it wouldn't even matter if Twitch was even still here. Like we're like brothers. Like we're really really close. We're actually planning a guys getaway in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, this coming March.
That is
So
so cool. I love all
yes,
those people are amazing people that I've met. I
they
think all of them through you,
hmm
actually.
they're great. They're just wonderful. They're even better people
That's
offline. Better people offline. I love
I
them.
bet.
I really love those guys to death, and it's because we spent time, and networking turns into friendship. That's what
Yeah,
happened.
it yep. Yeah, it turns into a friendship that is built around, I think, a lot of the times like similar goals and similar paths and what kind of journey you're on.
Right. Right. And let me see. But yeah, that's how I look at networking at least. Okay, so word number two. First thing that comes to mind. I want you to define support.
Support
Hmm.
for me would be encouragement, encouraging people on whatever path, whatever thing they want to do. Um, Providing like comfort to where people can talk to you, trust you, not a judgmental way. Gosh, like truly supporting to me is like an action. It's not at all like a passive thing. Like, oh, I support you. It's like,
Hmm.
well, okay, well, how do you support this person? Like, do you give them words of encouragement? Are you sharing their stuff? Are you talking
Hmm.
about them with your friends? Are you
Hmm.
that kind of thing? I think it's a very active form of sup- you can't use the word support for describing support. Comfort and encouragement and
Hmm.
honesty and just perpetuating whatever they're trying to do in a healthy way.
I agree. I definitely believe that there are some proactive methods behind supporting. Um, let's just be honest. On Twitch, uh, most people look at support as come to my stream. That's support.
Yeah.
Or subscribe to my channel. That's support. Or drop bits. That's support. Well, that's not really realistic for everybody. So, what if I can't subscribe to you? Or what if I can't drop it? So, you're gonna say I don't support you? So for me, it's a lot of what you just named. Are you talking to people about this content? Like for instance, like OG Shinobi, who's here in the chat. I genuinely enjoy his content, and I definitely look forward to getting to know. I'm gonna say I know you're here, OG. I look forward to getting to know you even better, truthfully, because I really like his content. And I'll just go to Twitter as I'm talking to him. I'm like, hey, if you haven't met this streamer, come on over and check out the vibes. It's just he makes you feel like a kid again. Let's just put it like that. He makes you feel like a kid again. He likes to share um, a lot of the Saturday morning cartoons on the stream. He'll play some really old school games, maybe some of the stuff in which we grew up with. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm in a time capsule every time I come to your stream.
I
but
love that.
yeah, and to me, that's support right there. Retweeting or just talking about other people. It doesn't always have to be come to my stream to support
Hmm.
me because I think I've said this a few times on Twitch that um, live streaming it's an IRL in real time event, meaning just because I go live doesn't mean it's convenient for you to come to my stream because you could be working or you could be with family or you could be sleeping. Who knows?
Yeah.
You
Be
know,
sick, like
you
all
could be
those
sick.
things I take into account because yeah, it's if you think I'm live streaming, you would tend to think about the support you're getting on that live stream of like the follow, the bits or whatever. But I've had people come in and I don't know where they're from and they ask, and it's because someone shared my going live announcement on Twitter, and it's like, yeah, people will. Well, I'm not doing anything right now. I'm gonna go check this out, or
Hmm.
and I think of all that stuff is very equally as important in supporting a person um, than
I
just what
agree.
you can do while they're live.
Right, I agree. I mean, it's like with you, you'll go live. I know I haven't been present in all of your streams, but I really do support, what you do. I like your content. I like your attitude, your vibe. That's why I asked you, to come here. I think it was Crafty. Crafty gives me ideas all the time. Like, hey, have you talked to such and such about coming on? I'm like, oh, you know what? I wonder if they would be interested. And she's given me a couple of ideas, but I know with you, I was like, yeah, I want to talk to her. Let's get to know her better. To me, this is networking. This is
Yes.
networking right here. This is networking. This is supporting because I want my community to know who you are. because I'm not a selfish person. I'm not somebody that's like, you're taking my viewers. Listen, you got those streamers out there that are weird like that. You can't take anybody's viewers. You watch who you
No.
want. Stop it.
Exactly.
Cut it out. If you're gonna
Can't
go, you're
steal
just gonna
anyone's man.
go. If you're gonna go, you're just going to go. I can't stop you. Don't you dare go to Rockettuey stream. Now, come on, stop it. These people are gonna go over there. Go over there and give that girl some love. That's how I see it. We can all grow together, truthfully, and
Yeah.
become friends in the process.
Yeah, I think you and I is a really good example of that because we do pop into each other's streams and say hi, but we are by no means like a regular or like a staple in each other's channel. But Twitter, I think, is where I interact most with you, and I have always felt very supported by you and
Hmm.
the personal training stuff and any self care thing, any stream thing, and I hope that you feel the same way. I love
Hmm.
interacting with your stuff. It's like I feel very supported by D, and we're not we're not doing a lot of the on stream support, but there's a
Right.
lot of support on elsewhere.
Right. I mean, I feel like I feel like I can get to know a person better off stream because number one, I
Yeah.
mean, you're not occupied, you're not playing a game, you're not talking to X amount of people. I would much rather go inbox you and hey, let's have a Discord call or just go back and forth in the DMs and get to know each other better. To me, I mean, yeah, if I can make it to a stream, I'll do my best to do so, and I'm pretty sure that you will too. I just don't want people to get the wrong idea when it comes to support. Like, you don't always have to be present in a
Yeah.
person's stream just to say that because some people fall out over that type of stuff.
Oh, yeah, I'm like you said, I see that kind of thing on Twitter and I'm just like, whoo, that's one thing I've always enjoyed the content that you put up about, people can leave and they cannot be
Mhm.
there and it could be personal, it could not be personal, but that is literally just life. There's
Mhm.
you it's very strange when people get really maybe entitled or feel like things can't change or I don't know. It's definitely not how I consider support. I have people I haven't seen in stream in forever, but I still feel supported by them. I still see them in other places.
I'll tell you what. Hold on just a second. There, I think it was last Saturday. I got raided by a streamer that I met earlier on when I first started, and I have not seen him or his partner in my stream in probably close to 6 months. The reason, honestly, is time zones. They live in Hawaii, truthfully. And when he came through, I was like, I started talking about some of the stuff that the conversations that we had earlier on, and it was like, wow, like I'm so happy to see you. It's not like, where have you been? Why haven't you come to my stream? You don't care about me anymore.
Seen you in forever. Yeah,
Why? Don't you
calling
hate that?
about.
I
Oh
hate
yeah,
that. You go to the stream. It's been a while since I've seen. Come on now. You know what
yeah.
you're doing. Stop it.
And
Stop
I've
it.
said it genuinely in a way, and then I'm like, oh no, I'm sorry. Don't take it that way. Like,
Right.
love you,
Right.
thinking of you, but I'm not sitting there like, oh, they're not there again today. Like, it's not like that.
Right. Right. Yeah. I always just try to be, gentle with it and just have a house of family. How you doing? Good to see you. As if they weren't there. Like you've always been
Yeah.
here. That's how I look at it, of course. Um, do you ever, this is another hot topic right here. Do you ever focus on viewership or are numbers not important to you?
Yeah, so I've have my viewers turned off for like so
Same.
I can't see it while I'm streaming. Because
Same.
I did find myself habitually looking to the point where when I turned it off, I was still looking up at that area and I'm like, oh yeah, no, it's not there anymore because we're not doing that. I think, numbers are important in a certain sense of wanting to grow if you're wanting to make a decent chunk of money to feel like it's worth your time or whatever your concerns are. But I also have gotten to a point when I know I can't control those numbers. I cannot
Right.
control who's coming in and watching stream.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you could, it's still not, to me, the most important thing is having an active chat and people who are talking to each other.
Yes.
That
Yes.
is like,
Mhm.
I've had more people talking when there's, 15 people in there than when there's 60. And
Hmm.
maybe there are people that would see that 60 and be fine just talking to themselves and feel good and feel successful. But for me, I'm like, oh man, I'm here to talk and connect. So if that's not happening, like I play games by myself. So I definitely know. I still look at my stream summary because I do like to know where I'm at, even though it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I don't get too bent out. I don't think you can, or Twitch will kill you if you get obsessed with that. The numbers, you'll second guess everything. Every dip will be, what did I do? They don't like the game, and it's so much of it is just completely not related to that. Just
Well,
life, like you
I,
said, it's real
yeah,
time, and there's time differences, and just yeah.
I see that all the time. Like I said, I observe a lot, and I see people. I'm thinking of a streamer. I'm not saying anybody's name. I'm just not gonna do it. Um, they would post their stream summaries up after every single stream, and then they would say this was an amazing stream, yada yada yada, basically pointing to viewership, like that's why it was an amazing stream. And then maybe the next day after they stream, they put up a summary. We took a hit, folks, yada yada yada, maybe because their viewership was lower than previously. I'm like, man, that really sounds like you don't appreciate who was there. That's what that sounds like to me.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, and I've had to tell some friends that. I'm like, "Man, you're really upset and worried about the people who aren't there, but like, what about everyone who is there?" That's always been something. It does. It sounds, and if that's your focus, and if you are posting your stream summary and saying you took a hit, and yeah, everyone's like, "Well, I was there." Yeah, so I can
Exactly.
see how that comes across that way.
It definitely can. It can. And, we should be definitely appreciative to whoever comes. Some people come on their lunch breaks, some people come while they're on the clock. It's, yeah, I don't focus on the numbers. Like I said, my viewer count is off. Earlier on, it was there. Like one of the features to Streamlabs is widgets. One of the widgets was to put the amount of people you have in your stream on your, I guess, on your OBS. And I found myself, I would play the game, I would do this, and I would be like,
Yeah.
and then the numbers go up, then it goes down. I'm like, I can't. This is this
Why'd
is
you
this
leave?
this isn't good. This isn't good. So this is very, very unhealthy because
Yeah.
it's taken away from my experience, and I'm not having fun. So we shut it off completely, and most
Yep.
streamers I know shut it off, and I think that's the best form of streaming, truthfully, unless you're just a strong-minded person and it really doesn't bother you. But hey, I I really have no, like you said, we have no control over who shows up, and who shows up, great, and whoever doesn't show up, that's fine too. One
Yeah.
of one of the last tweets I put out before I got on here was, just because someone doesn't come to your stream doesn't mean they don't like you anymore. Doesn't mean they don't support you. It's just sometimes they may follow a crap ton of other streamers, and they typically, the people at the top of their list get their attention more so, obviously, because they have more viewers, possibly, versus, and you may have at that point in time. So I don't think we should ever really take it personal. But again, I guess it depends on your goals. If you want to make this something that you do full time, which is, the next question here, are there any goals for you to become full time, or maybe a Twitch partner, anything like that?
Not really. I think, which isn't even like a real thought in my brain, but if I ever got to the point where I could support myself with just streaming, I don't think I would want to ever make that my full-time thing, because I want it to still be like not an escape in a sense, but I just want it to be, I don't want it to be my main focus. And as far as partnership, I think there was a time when I was like, oh, maybe I'll be a partner someday, but I definitely don't strive for that anymore. And
Hmm.
I don't think And it's weird to say, like, I don't think that should be someone else's goal either,
Hmm.
because you can't say that for other people, but I
Right.
don't think it is quite what maybe we think it is. It's not the finish line.
Hmm.
Um, would it be cool? Absolutely. But I am not doing anything to try to accomplish that in the sense of more than I am just trying to grow the community and play fun games. But yeah, I don't see myself ever doing it full time.
Okay.
Sounds fun,
Mhm. Oh
but
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I personally don't. I can't. I had goals of wanting to become Twitch partner too, and then I just saw the writing on the wall, and I saw everything in which it would take to make that happen, and it was just, I didn't really see it being worth it, truthfully, because I've talked to several Twitch partners, and I actually had one that was on the stream last week, and I asked them the question. I was like, what's the difference between you and me? Like, well, between your status, an affiliate versus a partner. He was like, well, the only difference really is, we get information a little bit more faster than affiliates do, which we eventually get it, but they just get it first. But the pay is the same. Like, they don't get their splits, it's equal to ours. So it's like, okay, you guys don't get paid more, and you're not exclusive to getting animated emotes anymore either. So we got
Yeah,
that too.
exactly, and there's also cons to becoming partner. Like,
Yes.
I believe it or not, a lot of people experience a significant dip in the numbers, if that's what you're focused
Yes.
on,
Yes.
after
Yes.
partner, because
Hmm.
to partner people like, "Oh, you made it." So they wanna go find another small community or whatever however they view it.
Hmm.
Yeah, and the pay thing, like, the pay thing already is problematic with Twitch, but yeah, if you become a partner and you still get like, have the same split and everyone's got the animated emotes and yeah, it just doesn't seem worth, especially all the mental aspects that go into it. I just
Hmm.
don't, not for me.
Right.
But my sister's a partner, and she was so excited when that happened, and I've also experienced that, like you have your friend, very close hand, and talked to these people and seen how their journey goes and how things do or do not change after getting that check mark.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people. I can think of several Twitch partners who have less than 40 viewers on their stream, and I'm like, how did this? What happened? What occurred? And I think that I've heard several people say, people will help you get to that status, and then once you reach that status, they kind of just, you know,
You
tripled
made
off.
it.
Yeah, you made it. Okay,
Yeah,
we can stop doing. No, they still need your support. They still want you to be there, but getting that average of 75 is damning, and it's incredibly hard to do because again,
yeah.
we can't control who shows up. And for me, I did you listen to my Spotify podcast that I
About
that
your
I
stream journey.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did listen to that.
I said in that podcast that it's the price is too much for me to pay in order to become a Twitch partner, because there's an incredible amount of time that you have to invest to do so. A lot of supporting, a lot of networking, a lot of being on the platform. And I know a couple of people who are, trying to do that right now, and they're this close to, like, oh, I have an average of 60, I have an average of 65, and all it takes is that one or two, not so saturated streams of an average of 40 to knock them back down again. I'm like, this is
Mhm.
too emotional for me. I can't do this.
Yeah, and it just doesn't make sense too when you understand how it works. It's like you hit it, ding, 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 you get it, but you can't control any of it. And I think I don't hang out in streams that have thousands of viewers or anything. I like to be in smaller communities personally, but
Hmm.
more. I'd say more of the partners that I follow have at or below partner numbers when I see them. It's very I don't find it launching people in the way that maybe they or elevating people in the way that they think it will.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, there's not really much of a difference between an affiliate versus a partner. I mean, if that's what, maybe there's some people here in chat, and don't let what we're saying discourage you from wanting to, seek that out. If that's what you truly want to do, go for it. If that's your dream and if that's the goal, be a full-time streamer, go ahead. I support it, but it's just for me, it's not realistic for me. It's just not. And I think that it would, for me at least, I don't know how you feel about it. It would just zap the fun out of it because it's starting to feel like a job.
Oh yeah, and it does, and the types of rejection that you will feel trying to accomplish a goal that I just think it's really dangerous to put a goal in completely out of your own hands. Like I have this goal, but I can only do so much to control it, and the rest is just completely out of my control. It's too hard of a journey.
Exactly. You see, Noel says, I don't like huge streams. It's too hard and impossible to follow chat. Yeah, I agree. It is
Yeah.
because I remember, I don't know why I went, I went to, it's about a couple of months ago. I went to Pokimane stream.
Like, hey.
20,000 people. I wrote a comment. As soon as I wrote it, it was just lost in the sea. I'm like, oh my gosh. And she's not watching it. Like, it's not her fault. She can't pay attention to all those people.
No.
She
And when you
can't.
get that big, there's no the chat, even when you are watching people chat amongst each other, it's one person's comment and then a whole page. And it's just
Yes.
like, this is overwhelming to me.
Yeah. You can't even talk to other people in chats like
No.
that. You can't. Yeah.
Tried.
Yeah. I don't even bother with it. Um So here's a scenario here. What advice would you give a streamer that just, that feels like streaming's not working out for them and they want to quit? What would you tell them to encourage them to, to keep going?
Yeah, that's a very real scenario because I've definitely had to talk to a lot of friends on this journey with kind of that exact thing. And I think, there's the advice of what you can do as far as, have a constant schedule, interact with people off stream. But there is a point where that people can be doing all those things and still not achieving what they want. And for me, it's like you've the pros or the good things you get out of it have to outweigh the bad. And I think if it gets to a point where it's negatively affecting your mental health and you
Mhm.
can't reach that, like you really have to be honest with yourself. And also, one thing that is hot topic or hard to talk about is not everybody is cut out to stream.
Yes.
And I've tried to go check people out before, and I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
this isn't not yeah, it's not something that everybody can do, or as unfortunately that everyone is. I mean, we all know somebody that tries really, really hard to be funny or something, and that's all they want is to be a comedian. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
not everyone can do that. It's unfortunate. There's only so much you can do to be likable to certain people.
Right.
And that's really hard too. And I've met people where that's a problem. And yeah, it just has to come down to what they can deal with emotionally and how they can regulate
I
those
agree.
feelings.
Yeah. That's a very sensitive subject right there because we are
Very.
currently in this overly sensitive, overly positive world right now. This
Yeah, and I'm
generation. So
like, and I
yeah,
like that overall, but there is a real element where it's
yeah,
like you're straight up lying,
yes,
in
yes.
certain scenarios, and I'm like, I'm not gonna lie to people, and
Mm,
especially if they're coming to me. That's another thing I think is important with support is being real and encourage you. You also have to encourage people to have realistic goals as
mm-hmm.
well, and things that aren't just gonna set them up to be hurt and to continue. If you're making these big goals or big ideas and you're constantly falling short, it's going to make you start to expect that and to not feel like you can not encourage yourself.
Right. I agree. Everyone definitely is not cut out to be a streamer. It's just like anything in life. Like everyone's can't play basketball. Everyone can't play football. You may not have
Yeah.
the. There's just certain elements that some people lack when it comes to doing this. Like you have that overly positive society. Oh, you can do it. You can do anything, and yeah, but they're trying and it's not firing off, and maybe perhaps this isn't for you. But you don't want to be that person. Like,
I know. Yeah, and that is so hard when because there are people where you know that is the case, and it's yeah, it's not. It's very people might think it would be mean or rude, but exactly, not everyone can play basketball. Not everyone can do anything out there. I mean, it comes down to like, are you a terrible conversationalist in person? Then you're
mm-hmm.
not going to be a good streamer if
Yes,
you
yes.
can't give and you or carry out a conversation. Streaming's not going to work. And there are a lot of people who can't, but they stream, and I get it,
Mm-hmm.
like wanting the things that come with it, but it's just not does not work for everyone. And that whole idea of if you work hard enough, if you crank out enough content on enough platforms, if you do this, like this is the recipe for being successful. And that
No,
just it does not work. If you try to do what other people do to be successful, it's probably not going to
no,
translate the same.
no. I definitely think that even if you're not great at video games, but you're good at communicating, I think that you stand a chance. You stand a chance at being a great streamer because there's some people whose content basically is based on, hey, come see my terrible gameplay. But you
Yeah.
know, I can make you laugh. I can sit and talk to you, etc. Like Crafty Gemini is by nature she's introverted, and she's not necessarily one to initiate things first. We neither of us knew until she started streaming that she had another side that clicked when she plays on stream. It just comes out, and she had that side also comes out when she works out too. I said, you're quiet, but you definitely have another side of you that people really enjoy when you stream. So yeah,
Yeah, I
I
definitely know people like that. They're very introverted, and for me, like public speaking or things like that, I
mhm,
absolutely cannot do, and I won't
mhm.
do, and I refuse to do it. But this way is a lot easier for me, so I get that to a certain degree. I'm like, people would be very confused if they met me and I like when I met my boyfriend because we met on Instagram and then ended up meeting in person, and he's like, you are the most anxious person I've ever met, like when we first started hanging out, and he didn't think that I'd be that way because the way someone can be online is, and I'm very much the same as I am, but once I get to know you or
Mhm.
feel comfortable. So oh, I think Crafty's hilarious on stream. It's
Yeah.
it's fun to see different sides of people, and when people start like going back and forth and
Mhm.
banter and yeah, so there are people that you might not think are would be a good streamer in person
Mhm.
or by knowing them in person, but they kill it and people love them on stream.
Right.
So there's no this person won't be a good streamer. It's so many things combined.
Right.
You can
Exactly.
be like you said, you can be really good at games. That's how you can get popular, or you can be really funny, or you can be really comforting. Well,
Mhm.
there's different ways to approach it, but
Right.
maybe that would be another thing you could tell someone is like maybe you should try something different. Like not something that you're not interested in, but if you're doing this kind of stream and it's not working out, if and you really want to be a streamer, try something new. I always recommend people switch it up. I'm like, try a different time if you're not finding the people that maybe work for you. Yeah, it's tough. There's only so much advice out there.
Well, you got to be careful about trying new
Oh,
things. There
that's true.
there
That's
are
true.
there
Like,
are some people that will definitely do things for attention, of course.
yes,
One of the most recent things, I'm pretty sure you heard about the woman,
yes,
getting down and dirty on the street.
yes,
she
yeah.
I 7-day ban, by the way, a 7-day ban. Unbelievable.
Oh, I yeah.
I saw a YouTube video from a YouTuber who basically was talking to her on TikTok, and that's when she was just smiling, and because she knew that that was going to be her break right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, she knew
it's
it.
funny. People do strategic things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Whether however they break the rules and then they get talked about, and it's like if that's what you want your channel to be about, or those are the types of people you want to bring in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Twitch has a wild side
Mm-hmm.
for sure, and a lot of
Yeah.
things don't make sense.
No, it really doesn't. We got one more subject we're going to tackle. But before we do that, once again, if you're new to this channel, hopefully you're enjoying this conversation. That me and Rockettuey are having. Probably you're halfway through your bag of popcorn, or maybe on your second bag of popcorn. Hopefully it's like 98% fat free, because we're about to jump into the subject of fitness right now. This was ultimately, when I hit you up about this, I thought that this was probably going to be the meat and potatoes of the day's stream, but I was completely wrong. Um, there can be numerous things in which you can have in common with somebody, but fitness is one thing that we do have in common. I remember, maybe it was earlier this year, perhaps. Yeah, I think it was. We were doing challenges on Twitter.
Yeah,
We were
so
doing
fun.
push-ups and squats and stuff, and it was motivated from the Bear Project and myself, and we were like, when we got together, we were like, hey, a lot of streamers really don't exercise. A lot of them like to sit and stream for like 7, 8, 9, 12 hours, and it's a very, very sedentary lifestyle. And I personally want to. One reason I rebranded, of course, I'm a fitness trainer, and a lot of what I do in real life, I wanted to try to translate over to this and motivate some people to get up and to get moving. Work out. I'm not saying you have to go join the gym today and be extreme. I don't expect anybody to do anything that I do, which is why I try to be as gentle with it as possible, and what I do is what I do. What you do is, what you do. So, besides Bear, and there's a streamer named Zavaria over in Australia who's going to be on here in a couple of weeks. You're probably one of the most fit streamers I've come across. And I know that they're here on Twitch, but it's hard to find them pretty much. When did you start working out, and what sparked that desire to want to even exercise?
Yeah, I think growing up playing sports, like I always played sports, and my dad has always been an athlete, and we had a gym in the garage growing up, and like he would always be out there lifting weights,
Mm,
and I just kind of growing up around it. I didn't get into it in the sense of how I'm into it now until about 6 or 7 years ago, and
mm,
it I kind of when I stopped doing those team sports and kind of like aged out of a lot of stuff unless you want to take it really far, and I knew that wasn't going to be for me.
mm-hmm.
um yeah, and I just always growing up having it be important to my parents was a big thing. I think that's really huge if you've got a parent that's involved with fitness and or outdoors stuff like that.
Right, right, nice. You see, everybody's different. Like, I didn't come from, my family's not into exercising at all, so it wasn't really more so them that motivated me. I guess it was more so the desire of how I looked. Like, growing up, I can recall having experiences that made me self-conscious about how I looked. In elementary school, here, for example, I had really bad asthma growing up. I don't have it now, but I remember taking a medication called prednisone. It's a medical steroid that opens up the bronchites of your lungs so that you can breathe. That's the problem with asthmatics. It's hard for them to exhale. One of the side effects of prednisone is weight gaining, and I put on like a lot of weight, not a tremendous amount of weight, but just some weight. In the fourth grade and the fifth grade, and I remember that there was a guy, a kid, of course, that would give me a hard time and would bully me and stuff like that. And prior to that, I never ever looked at myself in any type of negative way, ever. Like I was just me, and that was it. Nobody ever said anything until this one kid made it apparent. You're fat, blah 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 blah, every single day, as a kid. And then of course going into middle school and I hit puberty, I started like thinning out at that point. Started growing up and facial hair and all that stuff. Testosterone starts rolling. And then I'm having the opposite problem now. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm skinny now. What's the problem? And I was a big wrestling fan too. So me and friends would say, hey, let's start working out, man. We need to look like this wrestler and that wrestler. And that's where it began for me. Doing the push-ups in my room and the sit-ups. And I remember I didn't buy it. Folks bought me 20-pound dumbbells from a garage sale. So I just curled and curled every single day and did push-ups and all of that stuff all throughout middle school. And I joined the gym for the first time my freshman year of high school. And that was my first experience with a personal trainer. So the pain that I felt that day was so excruciating, I didn't go back. I said, screw this. I can't do this.
Yeah.
This hurts.
No, no.
No. Like this hurts. I said, I'll do this at home. So I worked out at home all the way through high school till about maybe 21. And then I'm like, okay, I'm only gonna get so far doing this at home.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go back to the gym. So I was thinking about that experience again, like, what if it feels like that again? And sure enough, it did. That pain was terrible. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm gonna just have to keep doing this.
Yeah.
And I did. I kept going and kept going, and my body just kept changing and changing, and then all of a sudden, it just became a lifestyle, and it became a part of me, and here we are today, 21 years later of just consistency. And I was talking to somebody about this earlier. One of my clients, she's always trying to pick my brain, and she's also a personal trainer. And I told her that story. She's like, wow, like you got so much experience. I'm like, yeah, I mean, because I didn't start yesterday. I didn't start a year ago. Like there's history there for me. This is who
Yeah.
I am.
Didn't happen overnight for sure. And when you work out yourself, you learn so much more about all of it. But yeah,
Right.
that's there's I think in the last couple of years there's definitely been a drive for that aspect of like changing how you look. That I think that's when I finally, because I used to be really into like, I guess like PRs and
Mm-hmm.
working on that. And eventually I was like, what's the point of being able to squat this ridiculous amount of weight if I don't look how I want to look? And it's
Right.
pretty, and then I started training for that. And it's like, wow, that makes a huge difference. Like, you've got to know what you want. I'm like, yeah, I do like to get a new PR. I'll always like that. I'm very
Mm-hmm.
analytical with
Yeah.
numbers. But overall, I need to make sure that I accomplish my goals of how I want to look. That became more important
Mm-hmm.
as I got older, and it was like already lifestyle. I'm like, okay, like let's change how we do this.
Nice. Nice. How many days a week do you train?
Nothing crazy. I'd say like 4 typically. I would love to be that person that could go more often, but at the same time, I don't believe that you have to. That's a big thing for me is getting people into it that are like streamers or not,
Mm.
totally new to it. It's like, yo, you can go, especially as a new person, you can go 3 days a week and have amazing results. You
Yes.
just got to make really good use of that time and eat properly. And
I
yeah, I'd say
agree.
about 4 days. 4 days, maybe.
4 days is, I think that that's fair, um, for lifestyle purposes. Like
Yeah.
there are people who, the 7 day a weekers. Oh, I go every day. I'm like, I you don't have to do that. Truthfully, you really don't. And for
Yeah.
me, I don't really have the time to work out every single day. And the way I train, I don't think I could, to be honest. The recovery aspect is so important. That's something that a lot of people don't talk about. Is you can't just go hard in the gym. You have to also take your sleeping seriously, take like you said, your nutrition seriously, in order for you to reach the heights in which you want. And you're right, you don't have to always chase the PRs, do the heavy squats and the heavy deadlifts. I hardly ever do anything like that anymore. I strictly
Same.
train for the look, the appearance, of course. I want to look strong.
Exactly. That's how I felt. I was like, what's the point? I was like, I don't look strong, but I'm strong. That was the frustrating part is I'd
Hmm.
complain about, not having a butt or whatever. That was a big thing for
Hmm.
me. And it was like, well, do squats. And I'm like, I squat so heavy, but I don't
Hmm.
look like I do. So now
Right.
I'm like, now I can squat way less than I could back then, but I look stronger. So yeah, exactly. I want to look strong. I want to look like I work out. And you
Right.
can get incredibly strong without having the type of musculature you want. It's a totally different type of training to accomplish that.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. So, what are some of your favorite exercises?
Ooh, favorite exercise. It would definitely be right now hip thrusts and then the hyperextensions. Anything that because it depends on my goal. Like right now, my goal is glutes. So
Yeah.
anything that makes my glutes hurt is like what I like. I'm like, all right, I'm hitting it. Like I'm hitting the thing I want to do, and so it's satisfying, right? You're like, all right, I'm working what I want, and exactly what I want is getting sore. So I love deadlifts too. I don't do a lot of them though, because it was kind of the thing. Like
Hmm.
they're good for you and they are good for glutes, but this isn't really the best. And they take so long. It takes a long time to do deadlifts. Like it will just,
Yes.
it's insane to do the reps
Yes.
properly and to get the proper rest. It's like you can, and same with hip thrust. I'll be over there for half an hour, sometimes more. Just takes so long to accomplish those things.
Yeah, I can. If I'm squatting or if it's a deadlift session, I'm there for about 25 minutes.
Yeah, yep. It's like, oh man, but that's the one big one that you do, right?
Right,
But yeah,
right.
I'm not I would like to be more into like hit or more like cardio and like more functional workouts, but for me, I lose weight so quickly. So I don't
Hmm.
really mess with too much cardio because again, it's not what is going to help me look how I want. So I'm like, yeah, I would love to do all that, but I'm not trying to be super shredded, super tiny and
Right. So you have the ectomorphic body type.
yeah.
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 Okay.
I naturally like I relate a lot to what Crafty posts about like
Yes.
how she has to eat. I'm like, that's
Hmm.
me. I'd have to just force feed myself
Hmm.
to maintain. So I just like lifts that don't burn a lot of calories but really hit those muscles.
Right. Yeah. She has every single day a 2,000 calorie shake every single
I gotta
day.
get on that. I saw her picture. I was like, that's what I need to do. And it is
Hmm.
just exactly get the calories in and get the protein in. Just get it
Hmm.
done.
Yeah, because
Because
at
that's what works
first
for those body types.
it does. At first she didn't like it because it was, it's 2,000 calories in the form of a shake. So it
Yeah.
took her like an hour to drink, and she's like, "This is miserable. I'm tired and sleepy." But her weight started climbing up. She's gained 7 pounds in the past
That's
4 weeks.
amazing.
4 weeks, and I'm like, "See, like now she's like."
Yeah.
Happy about it, like, okay, let me keep doing this. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
because it's working for you. The strategy that we take, and I'm pretty sure you have, because I didn't know you had an ectomorphic body type, but the strategy that we've taken with her is less is more. So she works out 3 days a week, and we try to not make her workouts any longer than about 45 minutes because when we exercise, yeah, our goals are to break tissue down and to gain muscle, but at the same time, you're still burning calories. You already burn calories at a high rate. So to go in the gym and to train for like an hour or 2 hours, you're still burning through calories that you need to be able to hold on to so that you can, keep that weight. But but yeah, so we work out. She works out 3 days a week and just eats a significant amount of calories, on top of the shakes, whatever food that, she can get her hands on, of course, but it works. It definitely works.
Yeah, I definitely need to be more consistent with protein and just getting the food in via shake replacement, whatever you can do. That's something I need to be better at. But that's what people don't realize. Sometimes, especially people like you, it's like
Hmm.
you realize he's got to force feed himself, right?
Hmm.
Like it's very easy to eat, 5, 6,000 calories in snack food. If you're doing
Hmm.
that in chicken and rice and like I'm like, oh, you're gonna be eating just an
All day.
insane amount all day. So it's
Yeah.
about getting those quick sources like that.
Hmm.
Just because even if it's an hour, you're like, all right, that was 2,000 calories. Like, done. Good for that. Good for the protein.
Right. There
But
was a
it's work.
I was looking at I went to the vitamin shop today, and I was looking for something for her. I grabbed some whey protein, and I told her, I said, I don't think this is gonna be enough for you, like whey isolate. I said, you need a weight gainer, and there's this product called Serious Mass, and it's like 2 heaping scoops is about 1,200 calories. Just 2 scoops. I said, that's what you
That's
need right there.
serious. Yeah.
Yeah, I said that's why it's called Serious Mass. So yeah,
Yeah.
some people, some women that basically women that are trying to lose weight, some of their diets consist of about 12 to 13, 1,400 calories, and just in those 2 scoops right there, it's a lot of calories.
Yeah. It's going to give you growth, though, for
Right,
sure. If you
exactly.
do it right, it'll be the kind that you want.
Right, right. All right, so you recently became a personal trainer. I think
Yeah.
that earlier this year, or was that late last year?
Yeah. Earlier this year. Because I
Okay,
started studying around the holidays, and then I think it was May, or I think it was April that I took the test.
gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
So, what made you pursue that field?
Yeah, I've always just loved helping get people to the gym and like start loving it. Just forever I'd love taking my sister there, love taking my mom, love telling them what workouts to do, and I've always just there's nothing I'm not like that with anything else in life. I don't enjoy teaching people or like training people in anything, but when it comes to I'm so passionate about fitness and working and getting people to do it that want to do it but aren't comfortable. I just was like, why am I not doing this? I'm already doing this in a way. Yeah, I just want to help people and just want to get more people in the gym essentially.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. Is that something that you would like to try to pursue like full time, or is that something that you want to keep like on the side? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's not like a goal necessarily or
Hmm.
something that I'm putting too much on at the moment, but unlike streaming, I think I would love to be full-time training
Hmm.
people. I could definitely see that being fulfilling and being able to kind of build life around that. So not something that I'm at all working towards at the moment, but definitely something that I would find fulfilling to
Right.
do, which is big for me.
Right. Yeah, I can tell you now. I've been a full time trainer for 12 years. It's very very satisfying. Of course, there's ups and there's downs. Um, I've learned a lot. I've learned a whole lot. I've learned that people come to us that have a story. You know, to them, oh, I just want to lose weight. Well, as a trainer, it's not just about working that person out and getting them in shape. Sometimes you have to spend time with that person. You got to figure out, what got them in the position in which they're in so that you can use that as a preventative measure so that they don't go backwards. Because there are some people who can lose the weight and they end up gaining it back. Maybe because some old habits were not broken. And that's a lot harder than people realize. I know for me, some people think, "Oh, you're a trainer. It must be easy. You just tell people what to do and you count." No, I'm dealing with. Okay, so all of my I told you before we went live here that 98% of my clients are women. So I've had to learn how to adapt to training primarily women, and it's not the same because every woman is different.
Yeah, there's a lot of finessing you do there
Yes,
with those types of relationships.
yes. Some of them look at me in very, well, all of them look at me in very, very high regards because I take what I do very seriously, and remaining professional. But I also have to deal with some of the emotional baggage that comes from some of their backgrounds. I have a lot of women that are single moms, and I hear stories and things of that nature. So I have to like sympathize with them and speak positive affirmations to them because sometimes they're coming out of toxic relationships that put them in that position of gaining weight because maybe the person that they were with was abusive, or maybe they didn't believe in them, or maybe they just were holding them back from wanting to do things with life, and that can be depressing. There's one in particular client I have right now. She's very hard to deal with, extremely hard to deal with. I'm gonna send you her picture when this is over. I'm not gonna put it on here, but she's so hard to deal with. Oh my gosh, I never know what version I'm gonna get of her. Some days she's happy and motivated, and then there are other days she's like whiny and negative. And some of my clients that have been with me, for a long time, they get pretty they get pretty angry. Like they get defensive when it comes to me. They're like, "Hey, she better get it together because she's like making him mad." And we have to deal with that. So, yeah. But her results have been amazing. Like I said, you'll see the picture, but that's just one thing that you'll see as time goes on that you're going to have to deal with people, and you have a choice, as to whether you want to really put up with that or you don't have to put up with it because I find that my mental health definitely gets affected by everybody I interact with. Everybody. And by
Yep.
effective, I don't mean like in a negative way. I mean like you either make me feel good or you make me pissed. You piss me off. One of the two. And she pissed me off on Monday. Like we had a moment. Let's just tell you a little story. She came in with the attitude. How you doing? Fine. Ugh. I'm like, it is 6:30 in the morning.
On
Why
my
are you
Monday.
Yeah, why are you doing this right now? Every little thing I ask her to do, it's a problem. I don't feel like running. I don't feel like going here. Like, why? I just don't. So
Oh,
we get near the end of the workout. I said, we're gonna run. I said, we'll do one lap. I don't feel like one lap is beneficial. I said, but yeah. That's the same look. The same look that all my other clients are like, what's wrong with this woman? So we go outside and I run with her just so that she doesn't have to run alone. And she's like, you don't take no for an answer. It's like, I'm not
answer.
trying to listen. I'm not trying to like boast or anything like that. But we're talking about somebody who pays over $200 a week to work out. A week. And you want to tell me that I don't take no for an answer? So then she comes out and says, I feel like I'm about to throw up. So I'm like, why didn't you just tell me that was the problem and then why you didn't want to run? You know what she did? She stomped her foot like a child. I shouldn't have to tell you why. And I was like, that's it. I'm out of here. I was gonna leave. So then she was,
Oh,
I was like, I was this close to say, I'm done. Then she says, I think I can run one more lap. I'm like, oh.
that is
Yeah,
why? Like,
yeah,
why?
yeah. So again, that's a rare case, but you will run into people like that. You will. And then you have to
Yeah.
make that decision like, is this worth my time? Is the money really worth it? Because for me, because like I said, she's okay most of the time. But she has those moments where I'm like, you need to get it together before you come see me. Seriously. And you've never seen her before, by the way, because she won't allow me to post any videos of her.
That yeah, and that's what goes hand in hand with that kind of thing.
Right.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
I don't know if did you just lose me or did I just lose you? Or both?
I
Oh,
don't I
oh,
don't know. Oh no. What's
oh
going
no.
on?
Made it. Oh,
Right.
it's you. It's
It's
you.
me.
You're upside
It's me.
down.
Hopefully this works. Is this gonna work? Let's see. Oh man, this isn't working.
Oh no.
You
I
lost
could
me.
to recall you.
Hold on, let me see. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. How about that? Remember I told you I was having camera issues? Can you hear me? Can, can you
Her.
hear me?
I can hear you. Yep.
Remember I told you I was having camera issues?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is what's going on right now.
Always. It always happens.
Every time.
Strange.
Oh man. Well, at least we made it to the last question.
It's gone smooth. Technical wise.
Right, right. Oh man. There's nothing I can do. Let me try to call you back.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if we can get this thing to work correctly. Let's see. All right, see, we reached the end of the podcast here, and now we deal with the technical issues. We can hear you, but we can't see you. All right, I'm gonna try to call her back, and we're gonna end this like the right way. So let me see here. Okay, so now that's why I didn't use. You see, do y'all see this? This is the problem. This is the problem I was dealing with before I started streaming. That right there. So let's see if we can get that other camera to pop back up. That was working just fine beforehand, but all of a sudden it wants to be like not cooperative. You see? I don't think it's gonna work. Oh no, Tuesday's beautiful face is gone. We don't have anything right now. We got nothing. But you know what? I'm gonna bring her back, and we're gonna close this out the right way. I hate to do it like this. I may have to put the ugly camera on there, unfortunately. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know why that happened right there. Let me call her back. Yeah, we'll have to do the ugly camera.
Oh, dude, I see the lines you're talking about now.
Yeah, see, we got the ugly cam now. This sucks right here. Now, before I called you, this camera was just fine. Okay, this camera was just fine, and now it looks like I look like I'm standing. I look like I'm standing behind like blindfolders, right?
That's what it looks like. Hi.
Yes. Let me see if I can get this one to work. This virtual cam is probably not going to work. Nope, that's all we get right there, unfortunately. Well, you know what?
Dang.
It's okay. Hey, oh, are we good? Hey! Oh, Are we good? Okay, all right. That's what I'm talking about. You see,
Yay!
once upon a time, I would freak out over something like that, like, oh, my camera. But we're here. We're
Oh,
here. See, folks, we're back. We're back. Oh,
persistence.
yes, yes. But but yeah, like I was saying, you're gonna deal with that type of stuff as time goes on, and I think you will have more positive moments than negative. Because I know I did. I do. I have more positive moments than negative experiences. I mean, but that's just life. Yes, D
Yeah.
Sassy, we're back. We're back. But yeah, I think that you definitely should just soak up, every bit of experience that you possibly can. I got, like I said, one of my clients is a trainer, and every time she has a testimony from one of her clients, she comes back to me like, "Hey, look, I want you to see this. I want to share this with you." I said, "Look at you. You're already changing lives." And like you said, this is something that you're passionate about, like helping other people and streamers, achieve their goals.
Yeah, and it's like a sensitive thing that you're doing as a personal trainer because working out it sucks. Like a lot of it sucks.
Yeah, it
And it's
does.
really and it's really hard to get yourself to go do that stuff. So when you're having to be somebody else's cheerleader for something that is so difficult and
Hmm.
having to combat their negativity like that, and yeah, that would be very hard to do. But yeah, I imagine you, and like you said earlier, everyone has a story about what got them there. So a lot of the times, the people that are there doing it are going to have, like you said, maybe a traumatic relationship they just got out of, or just a lot of people in general after relationships will go to do this thing, or they've been bullied, or, whatever it is. There is
Hmm.
usually ideas and feelings that come with the gym or like people who work out and getting people in there. It's sensitive for
It
sure.
is. It is. It is. People that come to us, a lot of them have tried everything. They Most of them have tried to do things on their own, and they failed. And one thing I like to tell people all the time is that most of us have a somewhat of an idea of how to work out, but some people don't. Some people really have no clue how to work out. But for the ones that kind of do, they need like an external source to ensure that they do it, like that, like the accountability to
Yep.
make sure that they do it. Like I got a client who's a former NFL player, and he's like, I know how to work out. I just need to make sure
Yeah.
I do it.
Yeah. No, that's a huge thing. And like
Hmm.
with all sorts of different, like how you train a personal trainer, and how, like, if I had the extra funds, I would love to have a personal trainer. And
Hmm.
when you're somebody's accountability partner for anything, if you're a real accountability partner, there's going to be moments when you have to hold them accountable. And
Hmm.
that's tough. Like that's part of support. If you're not really supporting them in these goals that they're paying you $200 a week for, putting all this
Right.
time and effort for, it's like, hey, this is the goal, this is the plan, this is what's going to get you there. But
Hmm. Yeah. But then again, there's people who do pay, and they still don't
yeah.
follow directions, and that's a whole nother topic right there, a whole
Yeah.
nother subject in itself that I could just go on and on about. But um so I'm gonna wrap things up. I'm so happy the camera freaking working again.
I know. Yay.
Yeah. So before we go ahead and wrap up the podcast, is there anything that you would like to tell the chat here, like any last impression words, we'll say?
Oh man, I'm like, we talked about so much. I don't really know. Besides thanking everybody for what they
Hmm.
bring to Twitch, like that is something I think about a lot when you see it from charity events or whatever. Someone's like, "Oh, I raised this much money," and it's like every penny of that came from the people that are here. Kind of
Yes.
like it's. I am very grateful for people that spend their time not just viewing or just a number, but interacting. And I, like you were saying about Flash and Bearded
Mm-hmm.
and Bear, it's like I have love for a lot of these people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's just the, I guess, all I would have to say is thanking everybody and genuinely appreciating, like I think you said on your, it was you or Berserker, that you don't get time back. Like you've spent
Mm-hmm.
the time with these people, and
Right.
that's now what you've chosen to do, and I definitely appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel the same way. Though some of you were here like from the beginning, and I appreciate it. Doing this is not easy. Carving out time throughout the day, you're busy, so am I. I find that Saturdays work the best for me. And if I can share something, I'll just go ahead and say it. I was just so tired, like from the week, that I was like, man, am I even gonna have energy to do this on Saturday with you? And I was like, you know what? No, like I really want to sit down and talk with her, and get to know her and us merge communities. And I'm so happy that I did, because I got this cup of coffee right here. I'm straight sipping on this coffee because my eyes were like getting heavy. Yeah, I was like, man, like what's wrong? Because I took pre-workout earlier. I thought that was gonna kind of carry me over into the evening, but apparently, it didn't. But
Burnout.
yes,
Just
this
doing
isn't.
it's
Hmm. Hmm.
sometimes there's not enough caffeine and there's not enough sleep you can get in one night because it's
Right.
just a
Exactly.
busy.
Yeah. When can we expect to see you? Like, what is your current schedule?
Yeah, Sundays are the only day I do a daytime stream, and that is usually like 11 to 3 Pacific time, 11 a.m. to 3. And then Saturday, it's kind of all over the place. Saturdays, usually I stream at 4 Pacific,
Hmm.
and Mondays at 6 Pacific. Yeah,
Okay.
just kind of a random
Mm.
one.
Okay, I got you. What games are you playing right now?
Ooh, right now I'm kind of between games. I just finished Lightfall, which was like indie platformer. Kind of reminded me of like Ori in those games.
Hmm.
I've just finished a couple really weird little indie games. So as far as right now, playing that stupid Hooked on You Dead by Daylight dating sim, which
Yeah.
is
Mm.
hilarious, but a little bit of Stardew Valley, a little bit of DBD, but I need to find a new game to dedicate myself to. I'm like, I don't know if I want to go challenging again, if I'm ready for that, or cozy and something to talk to, because I like to have the game be so challenging that I there's no way I would stick to it and do it on my own. Like I'm not going to sit there and grind forever if I don't have people to hang out with, or something
Right.
that's so chill that you can just focus on chatting with
Facts.
people.
Gotcha.
Yeah, kind of
Gotcha.
depends.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. Well, let me ask you this: did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. That was super nice.
I'm so happy to hear that. Like,
I was
really, this
very
is.
nervous.
It's okay. Even to this day, I still get a little bit of. Oh, there's one of them that just walked in the door. They were gone the entire time that we were streaming. And there's the other one. Yeah, this
Oh,
is the one right here. It says, "Daddy has a girlfriend." This is the one.
oh, you're wait, no, no.
Yeah, they were at her grandmother's house. He's gonna
Oh,
be blowing kisses,
cool.
enjoying
Yep, you're
themselves.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
He's gonna be the one, the
He
problem.
he he is. He is. Cheeky.
Yes.
I'm doing pretty good. I am. Go in there with mama. I'll be in there in a minute. But I definitely enjoyed having you on here, and we have got to do this again in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like there's so much we could talk about.
It really is. I'm actually trying to plan a round table sometime in the fall, and whenever I'm able to do that, of course I'll contact you, and we'll go back and
Yeah.
forth, have some
Yeah,
another
that'd be cool.
another interesting conversation, maybe something about sci-fi, something about space.
Yes.
Yeah. Now you got to remember, now you got to go check out Dark Matter. Okay.
I've got it right here.
All right.
I'm
And you got
serious
to.
about it.
I was upset when they canceled it on Sci-Fi, but you should be able to find it on Netflix.
Okay. They usually have like obscure old things that they've canceled. You can
Right.
still find.
Right, right. I think you really enjoy it. But I'm gonna let you go and
Thank you. Thank you,
enjoy.
buddy.
Yes, yes. And then hopefully you have a 3-day weekend, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Enjoy that.
Yep.
Enjoy it.
You as well.
Absolutely.